Welcome everyone to another Draft Archetype Skeletons with the Skeleton Crew, as Pawel dubbed us, this time for an Alchemy Horizon set called Baldur's Gate. Before we dive in, let's introduce ourselves, shall we? Pawel, you want to go first?
Hi, I'm Siekovitz. I'm a podcaster, I guess, streamer. I mainly talk about data. And today I'm clearly not going to be talking about data because there is no data yet. So there I am.
All speculations. Very uneducated guesses we're going to make. Tajoordan?
Hey, I am Tajoordan or Benji. I primarily draft Magic. I stream it sometimes, make some Twitter posts about it, but mainly I'm just on the arena on Magic Line doing a bunch of drafts, and I really love Limited, but I've been playing a lot of Constructed lately too. Excited to get back to like paper Magic and stuff for the RCQs.
Nice. And you are a podcaster as well, I heard.
Oh, a little bit. I've been on a few podcasts as a guest. And it's been a ton of fun. I really, really enjoy talking about Magic. So it's a great avenue for me.
Yeah, I like the last Draft Lab podcast. I think you had great synergy.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying my best to ask those questions about these mechanics that are tough to answer because we were still asking some questions before the show on these mechanics.
Yeah,
we still are not sure about some things, are we?
Yeah.
And neither is Josh, by the way, because I asked him personally about it, and he still was not sure. And he actually asked me, "Did you figure out the thing with the colors of the specialized cards?" No.
I had to ask him what if there was a threaten or an act of treason because I couldn't find it in the spoiler, and I knew I was just overlooking it. And sure enough, he like posts a screenshot. I'm like, there it is. That's the card I need for my skeleton.
Nice, Jason.
Yeah, I'm similar to Jordan. I just draft a lot. I've guested on a couple podcasts a couple times. I've been trying to stream more recently as well. Just excited for a new set, though. This one has been handled a bit confusingly by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, for sure. I think figuring out which versions of the cards would be in the packs was hella confusing.
Yes, it was.
I don't think we have a slide in the deck on Specialized, do we?
No.
For a good reason. Because what are we going to tell? What we think might be the case, but not necessarily is the case. Yes. Let's just give the broad strokes version and then say, well, if two different groups of people tell two different things, we're going to see tomorrow at the early access streams what's going to happen with Specialized, I think.
Yeah.
Assuming it works right, unlike Connive on Arena on day one when people weren't getting the triggers.
Well, did that really happen last time?
I think, Benji, you forgot. Yeah. It won't work because the draft won't fire.
Oh, I tried. They don't want to give us access.
No, I literally sent a Twitter message, like a rather polite one, to every EU-related Magic account there is out there, right? Because they told us to reach out to the EU-related Magic accounts. Yep. Like, zero response. Like, not even a K-Tanks buy. Like, literally nothing. It's just
they didn't say what will happen when you send those messages. They just told you to send the messages, no?
They didn't make any promises. That is true.
Oh, but what I meant is that the client is not going to handle the launch, so there's going to be at least 1 day delay of any kind of drafts, as per usual.
Yeah.
Except for Kamigawa. I would like to stress Kamigawa worked on the launch day.
Neat. It's mostly like daytime in the EU anyway, so I can't play anyway because I have to wait until the evening. So mostly all the problems are fixed by the time that I finally get behind my PC, which is a good thing, I guess. Okay, let's dive in. Small refresher for those new to this type of stream. What do we mean with a draft archetype skeleton? So we use sealdeck.tech for any and all deck building. They conveniently created a /sets/HBG link again, which will give you all the cards that are in this set in your sideboard, and it's very convenient for building skeletons. What we try to do is try to be realistic, so we're not building like the best decks for block constructed here, but we are building reasonable draft decks. And for us, reasonable means that we are including 0 to 2 rares, no duplicates, 0 to 8 uncommons. Also there, no duplicates. The rest of the deck we fill up with commons, and we use max 2 of each. And then, of course, you can include as many non-basic lands as you want. There's a slide deck. We'll post the link to the deck later on. There you can find all the skeletons that we built. As you can see, Jason and I managed to build exactly one. Jason, I just clicked a link on yours and it shows me the white.
Yeah, it's a scam.
It's a scam. You build a half a skeleton. So most of the prep work was done by Pawel and Tajoordan, but Jason and I are here to ask them the tough questions, I guess.
My secret was building a lot of not very thought through skeletons. So I look professional until people see what I put in my decks.
I too was a volume shooter. I put some ideas up on some decks that I don't think are very powerful, but I'm like, maybe? Or what I'd like to do.
I think that tells something about like Jason and mine character would be to do it like either well or not, probably. And then Siekovitz and Tajoordan are more in the camp of let's get this over with. Like independent of quality standards. Which is telling.
Whoa! No. Our approach is more. I just realized during the making of the skeletons that it's super hard to build skeletons in this format for some reason. It's just, I thought, okay, let's put some cards that I thought are decent. Let's put some cards that I thought maybe are controversial. We can have a chat about, and let's use the skeleton more as an autopsy than a skeleton. Which, ironically, after the autopsy, you are going to more or less be left with a skeleton, but hopefully.
Yeah, I like that approach.
I think
in general, just like getting it over with is a good life strategy, I would say. I know that I've struggled during several periods of my life because I'm a perfectionist and I don't get shit done.
Except for the approach towards life itself, where getting over with is not the greatest of the approaches. But
yeah,
trim the chore, extend the pleasure. That's a perfect strategy and a valid strategy in life.
For sure. You might wonder, like, why are we talking about this, right? Is it this another like random cube that they're throwing at us? Well, SNC turns out to be pretty one-dimensional. But it isn't, actually. I think Alchemy Horizon's Baldur's Gate is the set on Arena for the next couple of months, I think for the entire summer. And that shows also from the fact that there are not only regular events, it will also be the traditional draft, which mostly points you towards the set on Arena. And there are even qualifier playing events and qualifier weekend events for this format. So a pretty relevant format, I would say, to dive into and get familiar with, because we're going to play it for a while on Arena. I think it was relevant to mention.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, and I appreciate that graphic because I didn't realize just how many different events and how important this set really was going to be. I was kind of in that camp of why are we doing this?
I think that in 2 weeks we're playing the at least I got my 20 play points and I will play the play-in event. So I'm pretty much interested in at least knowing it much better in a week.
Yeah,
much better than today, at least.
Did you saw my Twitter post that I was 249 with like 0 minutes on the clock in the?
No.
That was so stressful. Like I wasn't sure whether I should play another match. Or not, right? So I was for the last half an hour. I was checking my profile every once in a while, see how much ranks I decayed, to see if I would make top 250 or whether I should play another match, right? And with like 0 minutes on the clock, I was 249, and I was like, this can go two directions. Either this number is bugged, and I'm actually like 255, and I won't have made it, or it somehow is actually correct, which would be a shock. And I made it. And I ended up being 248 according to the email and 249 according to my profile. So that was interesting. But It was a little sweaty. Sweaty
I might have
moment.
mentioned before, but it would be nice to have at least a rudimentary information from WotC. How does the ranking system work? Because operating on this in complete darkness, not that I care that much. I just want to get to Mythic.
No, same here. Same here.
And I think that with 250, realistically, I cannot grind those 3 drafts more to advance in that direction.
Yeah, that's the stupid thing. It's not about grinding. The trick is actually just stop playing, right? Which is so counterintuitive. Like, why would you want your players to stop? How can you design a ladder system where not playing is the correct approach? That is mind-boggling.
The only winning move is not to play, so to speak.
Exactly, which is something else. But yeah, that's how it is. Get Mythic early and camp. That's what they learn in shooter games, right? So it's the same in Magic.
I can't get the Mythic early. That's the thing. I don't play enough drafts.
Get there super late. Just get there on like the last day and then win one draft. That's the other way to do
it. Then I enter, like when I go at super late, I enter at between 400 and 300 usually.
Right. So get Mythic. Yeah, do a draft on Premier and a draft in Quick. Take the deck that you think will give you the most wins and play that out for 4 or 5 games, and there you are. There you are.
And then, quick draft is the other scam. Just quick draft. You'll get paired against bronze people.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. You have systems, I see.
It puts me in top 250 pretty consistently. Bird Advisor claim. I'm ashamed to say. But yeah, that's how it goes.
Ashamed to say, but proud to inform.
Well, yeah, it's more like I'm ashamed to say that is my strategy, but I'm proud to say it works.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the logic. Okay, moving on. Big picture removal. Do you want to take us away, Pawel, on this one?
Yes, there is removal in this set. There is not actually super much of the conditional removal because X1 hate. So here I have the sort of damage-based removal. And well, we start with the Shambling Gust, which deals with the creatures with 1 toughness, then improvised weaponry and cards that do similar things deal with 2 toughness, and I go on until 5 because that's the range of the cards in the format. And I'm moving my cursor, but I don't have the laser pointer privileges. But I think that the interesting part is that like X1s, there's only the Shambling Gust that deals with X1 specifically, and it does roughly kill 1/4 of the common creatures, but it almost doesn't touch the uncommons and rares and mythics when you get like 20%, 6% of the rares and mythics only. So it is still probably important because the X1s will be probably very, very crucial for some of the strategies, because I think that there's a bunch of 3/1/2 drops that Shambling Gust is very proficient in stopping. So I mean the card and you know, worst case scenario, it can still ramp, so the card is still going to be great. But I think that those 3/1s might do quite some damage if the opponent doesn't have Shambling Gust, because there's not so much else that can deal with them proficiently. Now, if we go to the 2 power toughness removals, that's basically there is the improvised weaponry, there is the black spell that deals -2/-2, so I counted this at 2 damage, but of course this one can do more because this spell puts another -1/-1 every upkeep. But if you want to get rid of the creature clean, it only works as a -2/-2. I think that there is like a Pyroclasm variant in red that deals 2 damage to non-dragon creatures.
Yeah, correct.
That I also counted as a 2 damage source. And this deals with roughly half of the commons. Like improvised weaponry can kill half of the commons. That's something to know. Roughly 40% of the uncommons and roughly 30% of the rares mythics. So you see already now that rares and mythics in this format are markedly bigger, and you can see this trend going on along with the Dragonfire, which deals 3 damage, and Mephis Enthusiasm, which deals 4 damage, and Spikefield Pit Trap. Also, there's the big difference between rares and the commons and uncommons. I think that the one interesting piece in here is that 4 damages kills 96% of the uncommon creatures. Now, it kills 96% of the uncommon creatures before they flip. And I didn't calculate what happens after they flip, because there is a bunch of creatures which specialize that generate, well, another 50 different variants of uncommon creatures that I would have to include in my calculations. Most of them still die to a 4 damage, I think, spell, but there is probably few that are not touched by that because they turn into 5/5s and 6/6. So, so yeah, uncommons are smaller sized, and I think that they are more focusing in terms of uncommons on the effects that they're doing rather than on the sheer brute force. While there is some chunk on the common level, so 4 damage only kills 85% of the common creatures, while it does kill 96% of the uncommon ones. And still, rares and mythics, especially on the mythic level, there's the cycle of 5 mythic dragons that are absolutely huge and massive, and they are, I think, changing quite a lot in those numbers. But they are still mythic, so hopefully you won't be playing against them that frequently. And in 5 damage, there is also the Faraday's cage, Faraday's flames, whatever.
Yeah, the red spell. The
sorcery
it
fireball.
also deals 5
Oh, it's
damage.
An instant. Is it an instant?
Yeah, it is an instant. Yeah, it is an instant,
that card is pretty good.
I think it might be better than it's almost a unconditional removal in red. And honestly, I think that in some decks, Dragon's Fire will also be an almost unconditional removal for 2 mana, because if you have a 7-power dragon in your hand, you can kill anything very early, even to the mid game, because you will wait for playing your dragon until you have enough mana. So Dragon's Fire can be slightly better than those numbers suggest, for example.
For sure. I think there's more dragons in this set than there were in the original.
There is actually roughly a quarter of creatures that common and uncommon are dragons of some sort.
Ooh,
now, obviously, a whole bunch of those dragons don't do anything with Dragon's Fire because they are small dragons. But I think that, there is one that is a 7 mana, 7/6 creature that also has an adventure. And I think that this thing can be actually playable, especially when you have Dragon's Fire in your deck and a couple of other synergies. You can reanimate it. It also, the adventure is just a 4 mana, put 2+1/+1 counters on something as an instant. So not a terrible thing to do. That can, either make you survive till the late game or outright let you win by buffing something. And if that plan doesn't work, you still have a lean back of I play a big dumb thing, deal with the big dumb thing, which not every color can do in this format. So yeah. But anyway, we can go to the more conditional removal, I think. So there's Cast Down, and this card, you can see the very stark difference between different rarities. It kills every common creature, but it only kills 60% of uncommons, and it only kills around 3/8 of rares and mythics. So very steep decline. This already shows you how much Magic is. Even this, that is a digital-only format, and it's not strictly connected with Commander, unlike, but I guess that some cards are coming from the Commander set. But look at how many how many creatures are legends nowadays, because Commander needs a steady supply of legends so that people can dirtle their favorite decks. So there's a steep drop off. So Cast Down is very good when it's going to be a Pauper format. But if it's a princely format, then Cast Down loses markedly, because it's a removal that technically deals with everything, but it doesn't probably deal with the things that you're most scared of. So yeah, that's the problem. Then we have Guiding Bolt. That's a 3 mana instant. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Scry 2. And that barely kills any commons, just 21%. Around 30% of the uncommon. So we get completely inverse. This one deals much better with cards with higher rarity. And I think that, like, looking at those numbers and the numbers of similar spells from previous sets, this, I dare say, looks more like a sideboard card than a main deckable card in best of 1. So I don't think I would dip my toes into it, unless it turns to be that this is so princely that you need to deal with it, or unless aggressive decks with smaller creature will deal with many combat tricks, which also I don't think is going to be the case. So yeah. And then we have Portable Hole, which probably is going to be playable if you have some kind of a control shell that is dying to early aggression. But apart from that, I don't see much happening to it. It's killing roughly 1/3 of commons, 1/3 of uncommons, and 1/6 of rares and mythics. So I guess if you have a deck that really struggles surviving early, that's probably it. But I also don't know if that kind of deck even exists in that format. So, and in white of all the colors. And the last card is a creature, but it has an adventure that can destroy a target creature with flying. And roughly 15 to 18% commons and commons have flying. 30% of the rares and mythics have flying. But again, this is going to be slightly inflated by the cycle of
Mythic dragons.
Yeah. However, I think that quite a lot of those specialized creatures that we mentioned but didn't describe still, their blue versions will have flying in one way or another. So I think that this number might be higher if you include that the player can specialize into blue.
One other note, in addition to being the adventure side of this card, there's like a utility green 1-drop that will conjure a plummet. So that's another card that these same stats apply to.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I actually originally planned to use that card, but then I thought it was more confusing, so I picked the the 2/5. It actually looks to me like maybe an interesting card because it cycles itself for 1 mana.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it in a skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so too. I think it's a fair card. Okay, big picture general.
So I mean, I generated those slides. That doesn't mean that they have much meaning behind them.
No, but just share your thoughts.
I can tell what I thought about
Yeah.
when I wrote them, and we can discuss every point. But
share your thoughts.
So first point, low coverage, overarching themes is, I don't think that there is like there are no sharp synergies. So by that I mean, like, if there is a life gain theme, it's not that I can instantly see this archetype materializing in front of my eyes. It's more like a side theme that you get some extra value from your cards because you have this life gain theme, rather than something that I should adhere. And I think that this is the problem with making skeletons for this format, that, you know, I look at the uncommon that is supposed to tell me what the archetype is doing, and I think that it basically misleads me almost instantly. I have this feeling that what they're telling me is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I had that feeling as well when attempting to build skeletons. Yeah, the golden commons just seem not really supported, or yeah. Sometimes they feel like, for example, the red one, I think that one is just generally good, right? It's just a strong card. You don't need to build around it. But for example, the green-white one that really benefits from life gain, I just wasn't really seeing that team. Although a lot of the green-white life gain cards are there from AFR, it feels less supported than it was in AFR. And that went for a lot of them.
Yeah, it feels like they added in a bunch of like uncommon signposts from AFR, but then like didn't put like the support cards, like there's no cleric class or like
you know, maybe we didn't read that all the green-white versions of the specialized creature gain a bunch of life, and we're missing on those.
Yeah, or like they put in Kalane, but like there's decently fewer treasure payoffs, and then they also put in a bunch of like Commander's Legends build-arounds, like a bunch of like dragon stuff, but then they didn't actually put any like good dragons at common, really.
Yep. Like, definitely
you said
feeling
a quarter of the set is like a quarter of the commons and uncommons are dragons, but I think like most of them at common are not good. Like I was looking at some of them, and it looked like a lot of them were just like either filler or just unplayable.
Yeah. No, I think that they will be fine in the context of the set. I think that you're underestimated how low the general quality of the card is.
That's fair.
I think that the pocket of synergy of life gain in particular is like one of the more overarching themes in the whole set that is like, I mean, maybe that speaks to how little supported the other themes are, but when I look at the deck, like I do think there's a lot of green-white cards in particular, and I think that those white cards kind of have a pocket where like you could even pair them with like blue cards or something like that and like get that micro synergy. But I do think that life gain will be relevant, and I think that the Celestial Unicorn is a card that is supported enough to be relevant.
But uncommon dependent, I would. Okay, this is for maybe let's leave it for the specific archetype. But my general idea was just to stress that signposts and uncommons are not necessarily something that you should treat as a reason, but more like a reward of being in the right deck. That you will have those pockets of synergy that you can abuse and make your card slightly better, but you shouldn't like go out of your way on trying to maximize the synergies of your cards. Having said that, I tried exactly that in my skeletons, just because it's an intellectual exercise rather than reality. And I didn't want to build like good cards skeletons because it's not that interesting to build good card skeletons because this is doing opposite of what they were supposed to be forcing us to do. But anyway, so we talked about this pockets of synergy. I think that covers the same thing. I think that plenty of this format is going to be based on individual card power without the synergy context. And I think that this is the important part. We have to focus on evaluating cards well and finding good plans for them and making sure you maximize power by keeping them working in decks that can use that power, for example. So squeezing synergy out through drafting, that's what I mean is when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. When life gives you prosperous innkeeper, you get one very good life gain enabler. So you might start looking around for those lurking ropers and for those Triselaras because you have already a good enabler. And generally, I think that the drafts are going to be looking for picks where you can pick something that is a good either enabler or a payoff, but hopefully enabler, especially in themes that lack enabling. And if you grab them, then you can start adding it to your deck and starting building this pocket of synergy by drafting and staying attent to important enablers. Because if the format is power based, if you come to the power based format with both power and bunch of synergy, you're quite favored there. So another is that there are some 3-color themes in the format that I noticed. So like there is overlap with dragons for teamwork color pairs. There is overlap for leaving the battlefield between in Esper. Oh, you should have been here earlier, J2S Josh, when Benji was trying to connect. That was best Benji content I've seen in many months.
Yeah, that was privately streamed content, but very good. You subscribe to us on Patreon.
So there are those overarching themes, but there's no fixing. So there's.
Can you name a couple? I think Teamer Dragons comes to mind.
Yeah, Teamer Dragons. There, Esper leaves the battlefield kind of overarching theme, and there is probably Mardu is going to be some sort of kind of super aggressive openings.
Go white stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, like if you look at all the signpost uncommons, it's basically those. It's like blue white is blink, white black is like leaves the battlefield, white red is double team, white green is life gain, blue black is like on hit stuff, blue red is dragons, blue green is dragons, black green is shrug, red green is dragons. And
just black green is self mill, baby.
Thank you, Josh, for saying that, so I don't have to. So black green is always this, no? Black green. What's the theme of black green? Stuff. There's graveyard involved.
Graveyard. Yeah.
Bird admirer.
But okay, I mean, but there are those 3-color themes, but it's just like there's absolutely no fixing in this format. So I think that there's potential for 5-color decks, but there's very little potential for 3-color decks because the fixing is all in 5 colors, which sort of
Prophetic Prism. If it's a thing, I'm gonna be excited, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of challenge you on there not being fixing, given that we have Prophetic Prism and Pilgrim's
But
Eye.
it's not the kind of 3-color fixing. It's not the kind of, for 3-color decks, you want fixing that sort of targets your neighboring colors, and you can build decks out of that. I mean, I agree that there is fixing for 5 colors, but that's 5-color fixing is very different from 2-color fixing. Like if I put something that gives 5 colors, I don't want to be limited by 3-color combination. I just want to pick and mix from everything, make some kind of a 5-color green, because green has probably the only 1-color fixing card. So I probably want to make a green base, and then every bomb, every powerful card I'm putting in from other colors. I don't care about their themes. I just care about the sheer power and build the soup out of it. So I do agree there's fixing, but not in the way that I would like to have to make 3-color decks.
We don't even have evolving wilds. We have like 0 dual lands. I think that hurts a lot. If all
there's Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
there's Baldur's Gate.
We have Pilgrim's Eye and the green 3-drop that gets a gate. Those are kind of fixing, but I think that the green 3-drop that's a 1/2 that makes a 1/1 is like really the thing that the decks want, because you get a 1/1 on ETB, a 1/1 on death, and it's ramping you while providing something to chump with against like a troll or gorger or whatever. I think that card, if multicolor is a thing, that card will be the reason why.
Yeah, I agree.
You're talking about Underseller Myconid, right? The 2 and
yeah. That card looks pretty nice. Yeah. Also, it ramps you to 5, and I think that there are some things in 5. And yeah, so what makes me think that this kind of format also has quite a big potential for being dominated by aggro, because if other color combinations are doing dirty things without being very synergistic, then what happens is that aggro just smashes them in the face and dances on the ruins of their puny civilization. So I can see that. I'm not saying that it will happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if like red-white / some version of red-black, because of course we have still the scars from the AFR cards in red-black, might be the deck to do, and then the rest is just going to be an afterthought. Because when I see like an aggro deck that every creature, when it attacks, it summons a copy of itself in your hand, I'm just having visions of, okay, how do you exactly plan to go attrition against something like that if they get 2 cards from every card that they play? I don't see that option. So yeah, there's that.
For sure. Moving on, big picture white. I think you had a lot of ideas about white specifically, Jason, correct?
Yeah.
I'm excited for these. The skeleton looked really interesting, and the stuff that you were putting together.
Yeah, so like what you were saying, Siekovitz, about like how against like a double team deck where like all the creatures are drawing creatures when they attack. Well, yeah, I was doing the other side of this, of like, oh, how can I maximize that? So like I think white has a lot of good go white synergies at common, without having like an explicit like raise the alarm. Like I saw a lot of people like looking at the cards like the unicorn, like the 1-drop that for 4 mana pumps your team, or the 5-drop that like pumps your team when it enters, and being like, wait, why is this in the set? There isn't any like go wide stuff. There's no raise the alarm. There's no token makers except one.
There is though. There's the card You're Confronted by Robbers. It's a 3 white instant. And,
yeah, I mean, but
it creates 3 1/1s, right?
Yeah.
It is an uncommon, but it is strong though.
Yeah, it's very strong. But basically, my point was, I think I heard some people like saying like, oh, there isn't any go wide in the set, but they didn't. But I think that what they don't realize is that there's a lot of go wide just by having double team as a mechanic. Like
Soldiers of the Watch is your raise the alarm basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Soldiers of the First Watch, I think is probably is like quite strong, I think, because if you think of it, like we had in Kaldheim, we had the 4 mana make 2/2/1 tokens in red, like a sorcery, and it had Foretell for 2, right? And that was like a solid card, not the best. Yeah, Dwarven Reinforcements. But the difference between Soldiers of the First Watch and Dwarven Reinforcements is you immediately get the 2/1 like on turn 2. You don't have to like foretell something, not do anything on turn 2, and then play it on turn 3. Plus, you have a bunch of plus you have a bunch of synergies with plus you have a bunch of synergies with like Valiant Farewell, like the combat trick. It's like +2/+0, draw a card, you get a boon when that creature dies, you get a boon with the next creature you cast also gets +2/+0. That's really good at letting your 2/1s trade up. And just I think there's just going to be a lot of ways in White to play a lot of cheap creatures, like 1s and 2s, and then trade them up with things like Valiant Farewell, and then get in a lot of tempo with like 1-mana tricks like Hippogriff. Like there's the 2/3 flyer for 4 with Adventure, like 1 mana, give a creature indestructible, and there's like you're ambushed on the road, 1 mana, +1/+3 untap. And that the combination of just like cheap creatures, tricks, ways to make them trade up will be like, I think, a pretty hard thing to beat from White. So because of that, I was also looking at the White commons, and there's like not that much good stuff on 3. Like you have Priest of Ancient Lore, which is probably still the best common in White. Like 3 mana, it's Inspiring Overseer without flying, right?
Yep. Have you considered giving that double team? That is sweet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no way to do that outside of like uncommon or rare, I think.
True.
The red one, I think.
There's the red common. I forgot about
that.
Yeah. I think that one's probably not that great, but it could have a home. But anyways, I was looking at the White commons, and like I didn't really say anything good to do on 3, so I think like one drops will be very, like 1 mana applies will be very good in the White, because like there's also like no tap lands in the set, really, right? We don't have like dual lands, so like you'll have, if you don't have anything to do on turn 1, and then on turn 2 and turn 3 you're both playing something that's 2 mana, that's like 2 spots where you could use 1 mana, which are like perfect for fitting in the 1 drop that like pushes a lot of tempo. Something like a 1 mana Comet Tricks, which makes Hippogriff better as well, or just like that's one of the reasons why I like the Unicorn a lot. I saw some people were like down on the Unicorn, like the 1/2 for 1 with 4 mana, give your team vigilance and +1/+1. And I think that card's just like a pretty solid card to like after you've attritioned out your opponent, and then you have like maybe 2 or 3 2/1s to their like 3 toughness creatures or higher, like just pump close in the last damage with Unicorn. I think will be a common play pattern. But yeah,
that card felt pretty bad in Baldur's Gate, which is maybe why people are talking it down.
Oh, you mean in Commander Baldur's Gate?
Yeah. In Commander, it just wasn't worth the cardboard.
Yeah, basically. I mean, like that makes sense, right? Like in Commander, it's much harder to aggro your opponent out with like
especially if you're with 4. Yeah.
I think so. I think is awesome. Like I think that it might be kind of underrated that 1 mana like give something indestructible is kind of like an extra chump attack, give it indestructible, and like it's like a 2/1 and a 2/3 flyer or whatever. Like you get a lot of value. It's really easy to get value from the front side.
Yeah. Like I think a really strong play will be turn 2 play Soldiers of the Watch, 2/1 double team. Turn 3 attack with it, and then play Hippogriff like on the adventure side to make your 2/1 survive, and then play another 2/1. Or if they have a 3 toughness creature, you can play Hippogriff plus Valiant Farewell. Give your to like eat their creature, keep your creature, and then next turn play a 4/3 Hippogriff.
Yep, exactly. And it keeps the pressure on as a flyer. Like it's kind of insane.
Yeah. It's great for like making sure in the early game you're getting a lot of like positive tempo from having that 1 mana trick, and then in the late game closing out with that flying damage. Yeah. I also wanted to highlight Patriarch's Humiliation as another very impactful 1 mana spell. The 1 mana instant, deal damage equal to the number of creatures you control. Or I think technically the creature you're targeting loses all abilities perpetually first, and then it gets dealt damage equal to the number of creatures you control. Yeah,
it's good against shield counters.
I'm happy to see those gone.
I don't know if it would work against shield counters actually, because
it's not an ability.
Well, I mean, like, it's an ability, but it's not an ability on the creature, right? Shield counters.
You're
it's
correct.
Like an ability on the counter.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
'cause
it doesn't
you
do
keep
that.
it
It
with
doesn't
the-
remove counters.
With the witness protection
shield
or whatever,
counters.
you still have the shield.
Oh dear.
I'm having nightmares.
I love the sound effect.
But yeah, I think like if you go to the next slide, I just sketched out like half shell of like white, just like white commons that I want, like, you know, just all the good ones.
Yeah, but actually, that's what I thought. That when you said that you would want to save one of your soldiers of the watch with a valiant farewell and then blessed hippogriff adventure to make them survive. No, let it die, then play the 3/2 unicorn. Much better.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah, like I mean, like if you don't have the unicorn, I mean, okay, I think realistically, if you have both the unicorn and the hippogriff in hand, you might want to use the hippogriff because, like, I think like the 1-mana trick is a very impactful one, right? Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn, but doesn't always work, right? Like it doesn't help you trade up. So I think it might be important to use it when you can. But playing a 3/2 unicorn is probably better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like this. As always, it looks pretty aggressive because that's also the direction we're leaning typically, I think.
That's why I like white in limited, is it always tends to lean aggressive.
It speaks to us. Yeah. Okay, blue. We actually got a slide on this one. Anyone wants to share thoughts?
I made a slide for every color. It's just that Jason changed my white slide because he actually had something to say, and the rest one probably stayed as they were because
I only decorated. I just only decorated Pawel's slides, so all the images you'll see are the cards that I probably like more than I should, or are just.
Oh, actually, someone in the chat is asking, but that someone is Josh. Why didn't you just say bad? Well, actually, the first version of that slide was just a poo emoji.
Yeah, that's a solid assessment. I was like, wait, like y'all, like what do you do with blue? Like I had built all the other skeletons, and I'm just like, there's 2 good blue cards. Like what? How can they reprint all this stuff but not Ginny Winseer? Like every black-red card, but no Ginny Winseer? Like who came up with that?
Hey, I think Ginny Winseer would not fix Blue's problems. I thought that card was like pretty medium in original AFR as well. Like it was like
it was like the best one they had.
Well, yeah,
exactly. But generally, I mean, what it looks like to me is that what it tries to do is have card advantage and then lose to a double team creatures, have some blink and then lose to some double team creatures. I think that their one theme that is there is combat nuisance, as I call it. It's just giving -2 attack to everything in 5 different ways. So whenever you attack a blue deck, just expect that if you're attacking with a 4/4, it's probably a 2/4 realistically, at least for that turn. But there's plenty of that, and I was looking at so many of those particular tricks. There is a sub-theme of dragons. There is some sub-theme of deals combat damage to opponent. So there is the thing that draws a card on contact and a couple of other things. There is some looting, then graveyard filling, and there is a very minor theme of second spell per turn, which is represented by its blue-white signpost and common and basically nothing else. So this shelved, I think is the word. This shelf. Am I pronouncing it right? There's just so much things, and maybe when you open the right portion of the blue, you might squeeze something out that will be interesting. I think that honestly, if you build a deck right, I think that there is a potential for like a deck that goes long and draws many cards and just wins like that, but it needs to lean very heavily on everything else except for the card draw from another color, basically.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I think blue can
really
be a
sad there
support
isn't,
color.
like, a good blue dragon at common. Like, sorry, specifically a good cheap blue dragon at common. I don't know.
I
what
think the looter is not going to be bad. The 1/2 looter that loots for 1 mana is not going to be a terrible thing if you play it in some kind of a blue-black. You have a reanimated common and you have another reanimated uncommon, and I think that if you put it in some kind of a blue-black focus on reanimation kind of shell, I think that might be all right.
I'm still skeptical. I don't know.
Yeah, that card literally trades with the front half of your Soldiers of the Watch, right?
Yeah, it's just so bad on turn.
That's basically what it does.
I
told you that the fact that every white and red creature is a 2/1 is a problem, and it's going to be a problem.
Yes,
something that I can tell you right now. I'm just trying to look for positives in blue and not focus on negatives, because then we're going to make everyone negative about the format, and they will be all like, "Oh yeah, well, we knew already that this format is going to be rubbish because white and red and black are just better than everything else, and the rest is crap."
So the blue-black deck is going to play the looter on. Can play a vampire spawn on 3, and it's gonna like start to stabilize on turn 4 with some interaction or something like that, and then like on turn 5, like maybe reanimate like the giant like 7/7 uncommon serpent that like
or something even
something like
or a meteor golem
even.
That's a great call. Yeah, meteor golem is a great call. I hadn't thought about that in the blue-black deck, and you can use meteor golem with the blink stuff as well. The 3 mana uncommon, just don't cast it in.
We're getting there. We're getting there to Jordan, but I think there are some possibilities, and I think that if we're going to say that blue is the worst color, we probably are quite likely right. But I think that we might be underappreciating. It's not going to be, I think, as bad as it was in AFR, because I think that the uncommons in blue are markedly better than they were in AFR. Yeah, commons are not impressive. Let's be fair about that.
My take was that blue definitely feels like an upper rarity kind of thing. Like, and it also feels like if it's anything like AFR, like, do you remember when like you were just getting like 4th pick, like, or like getting double Mind Flayer decks and you'd have like 3 or 4 blue rares in any deck you had because everyone was like just scared of it? Like, I feel like you could get to that point a couple weeks in where nobody's drafting blue, and so blue.
I do.
Yep.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So I'm not okay. I kind of want to push back on blue being better than it was in AFR, because I think people underestimated blue in AFR, and I feel like I'm looking at the like blue rares right now in this set, and like there are not very many blue rares that I'm excited about. Like compared to AFR, where like a lot of the blue rares were like really strong and pulls into the color, and that's why you would draft blue. Like the Ancient Dragon is just the worst of the cycle because it just kills you.
Like, look, all I'm saying is I want to reanimate my 2/5 flyer that bounces something and then blink it every single turn until the opponent just bangs their head on the table and concedes to me. That's what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
I want to block with Vampire Spawn to waste time.
Yes, very good, very good.
In terms of talking up blue a bit in order to like, you know, not just trash on blue. I think there could be something with all of that combat nuisance of like an aggressive blue deck where you play like the 2/1 that says like whenever it gets blocked, creatures blocking it perpetually get -2/-0, and then you have like Soul Knife Spy, and you play a lot of -2/-0 stuff, make your opponent's creatures all into chumpers, but like that feels so slow, and like the problem is they get to chump. Like you don't even.
I would see that plan much better if Soul Knight Spy was like a 3/2/3 rather than a 3/2. Because even the -2/-0, it will probably be not enough in many cases to save it when it gets blocked by a 3/1.
Okay, really what I want is for Soul Knife Spy to have trample. Like, obviously that's way off color buy. But then you could, like, legitimately attack into a 2/1 and, like, give it -2/-0 and draw a card.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Maybe there's something like play red aggressive creatures supported by like blue tricks, and then you finish them with the reach on your uncommon gold card or something. I'm not sure. I'm reaching.
I had some decent decks that had like four of the spies, because they also had ways of pushing them through, and then these decks could run away with the game because you basically like played spy, trick, and then you were so much in front of cars that the quality of the cars didn't matter that much. But
Oh yeah, another thing that that is worse about blue this time than AFR in my opinion is that like it lost a hard counterspell. It doesn't have Bar the Gate. Like one of the things that blue could win with in AFR, I think, was just like play some Bar the Gates, play like an instant speed package, and play like a Frost Giant, stabilize behind that, counter their important stuff, don't counter their not important stuff, and win that way. But like here, you have Undersimplify, I guess.
Is there the one blue like option?
You find the villain's lair.
Yeah, something like that. Like, I mean, I don't think that card's
Dream
playable.
Fracture is common as well.
But I think that's a hard counter. It might be conditional.
It is. Counter target spell.
There are 2 hard counters, but they're both cancels. Cancels are like not actually good.
Oh yeah, I don't like counter spells in general, and I certainly don't want to cancel. I'll take an Essence Capture.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Like John is saying in chat, like blue having Bar the Gate plus Scion, like the 3-mana 2/1 flash that tapper.
Oh, I
like,
forgot about that.
That was a reasonable shell in AFR. And like Bar the Gate, just getting that small incremental value of like going through the dungeon did actually help a lot.
That Scion is a big miss. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't want it to be there.
I think they didn't want to put any role. Wait, no, contact.
But they put. That's the thing. Like we didn't want, but we did. Oh, we didn't want the color hoser, but one of them made it somehow. We didn't want to keep the old dragons, but we put a couple because we just like whatever.
I was like, where's the white dragon? Because like I had the red and the black one in some skeletons, and I like couldn't find the white one. I'm like, oh, it's not in this set. Like,
there's a mythic one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but okay.
Moving on. Right.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Much ado about nothing is blue. Oh, look at those beauties. Look at that decor.
Busted comments. WTF.
What the?
Yes, this is insane.
Yeah, black in the set is they took all of the busted comments from AFR and then added one that's even better.
Yeah, just that 2/1 Death Toucher is just so good. It's just so like think about it. The blue one doesn't even have a Death Touch. You just block it on something, trade, and that's it. This one has Death Touch. You can, if you block it on a small thing, they draw a card. If you don't block it, you start losing life. It's just like
Yeah, how are you going to deal with that? No, this looks
and you know,
insane.
I'm still not 100% sure if this Sepulchre Ghoul is going to be a 2/1 or a 2/2.
Same.
Just like let's get this free extra toughness there.
I mean, you gotta play around Shambling Ghast, right? Like,
there's just a lot of little things about this set that make it like not feel like a Magic set to me. Like the spoiler season has been so weird. We have no idea how the cards work or like what cards will be in the set. There's a card which has like 7 like things in its spellbook, all of which have the same art. I don't know.
So everyone else seems to agree with me that this 2/1 Death Touch like just reads like an insane card. Like
it is.
Yeah, it's
like
super
what
strong.
like everyone in chat and y'all are like, oh yeah, this and I'm like, hell yes, because I totally agree. I love this card. Like it has so much text.
It's like a Priest of the what's it called, but then with Death Touch.
Priest of Ancient Lore, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
But and with delayed draw, basically. It's and it if it wasn't blocking, right? You can't kill it with a removal spell.
There's no first
sacrifice
strike on
it.
like,
it does it. Yeah,
it's very few first strikers.
Yeah.
And especially some specialized creatures, I can guarantee you that will have first strike, and probably some of them have first strike and double strike at the same time because why not?
No, I don't think that one. I'm pretty sure there's no first strike and double strike. I know there's trample unblockable. That one's
double strike is a card. It's mentioned a card gives double strike, but I don't think there's a creature with double strike.
No. I was making a joke about the card that has unblockable and trample, just because.
Ooh.
There was a use case for that, right? A combat frick, I think.
Ram through, I think, is what we found.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, and that was in the set, right? Yeah,
I don't think so.
I remember you talking about that on the podcast.
No, that Josh specifically said ram through, and then is that in the set?
No.
I was misinformed.
To be fair, I agree with their decision to make that specialized card have unblockable and trample, because all of the other versions, including the base version, have trample. So I agree with that. It's just
I get it. However, that consistency was not the same with every card, as lots of them vary in power, toughness, different abilities, and one is just like all the cards are different. That's basically
And like, so we talked about, so now we're talking about specialized, right? So we had a discussion on Discord, like let's take a black card, it turns into an either mono black card or a black green card or a black red card, and we were talking about, if you pitch a black card, can you make it any of the 5 options, or will it become the mono black one, right? And
I'm pretty sure the answer is mono black.
Yes, I think so too, which raises the question, why are the other cards black red? Like, what in the world causes you to create so much confusion? Why is it not just a red card then?
I mean, because they want it to be a gold card, right? Because like you play the black card and then you added red to it, right?
That's like super confusing.
I think the flavor makes sense. I think the confusing part is they haven't put out a mechanics article yet, and the early access event starts tomorrow.
No, there is a mechanics article, but it just, so maybe let's take back a step, because there's going to be listened to some people that probably have absolutely no physical idea what's specialize it. And specialize is a mechanic present on, there is a cycle of 2 uncommon creatures in each color, and there is 2 rare in most colors, but not in all colors, or mythic rares that do that. And basically, specialized creature have a specialized cost. When you activate the specialized cost, you discard a card, and the specialized creature changes, the whole card changes, because it's possible online, into an alternative version of itself, which is usually slightly bigger in terms of stats than the original, and it also gains a second color identity. Now, this second color identity is dependent on the card that was discarded.
Pitched, yes.
Yeah. And it can be either a card, a spell, or a land. So basically, if you discard a forest, this black creature will become a black-green creature. If you discard a red spell, it will become a black-red, and then the difference between those is in some abilities of what happens when you specialize. But the question, of course, is that all five of the alternative versions, I don't know if you can go with the laser pointer. So the one in the top left corner is...
no, I can't. This is not a slide, sorry.
It's not a slide. Okay, so the one in the top left corner is the original one, and the other 5 are the specialized version. The question is, what happens when you pitch a black card to specialize it? Because black is in the identity of all the 5 versions. So I think of it as a sort of like the letter of the law. They all have black in their color, so I would expect that all 5 would be possible. I understand that the spirit of this rule is to give them the specialization based on the color of the card that was discarded. Yeah. So if I discard a black card, it should be a mono black creature. If I discard a blue
do
card
like that it has double black in the cost.
Yeah.
That makes it a little less confusing. That helps the confusion a little bit.
I do hope that this is this version, but I also heard someone mentioning that it's going to be, if you discard a black card, all 5 can be chosen. And it's like, I hope not, but I can't exclude it based on the information I was given, because even on the website of WotC, they gave us, like, just make life of people easier. They gave an example where there is a black card with specialize on the board, and they show activation of specialize. But if you will notice, in the hand of the person, in the shadowy, murky things,
there's no black card
that is specializing. There is no black card, so we can't save based on that. Weirdly enough, in a deck that has a black creature on board, they have a plains, a mountain, and a forest in their hand, and a green card, I think. So you can only specialize those 3 colors. So based on this information and the information that specialize allows the player to pay mana and discard a color, land card, a type of your choice, to change your card to that new card with its effects. Change depends on which color you discarded. Doesn't really say.
Doesn't really tell you much.
I mean, I would hope that this is what you're saying. Yeah. It's just like, it would be not a big effort to make a 3-minute video of gameplay from Arena beta test to show how it works, rather than obscure screenshot.
One
multi-billion company.
I got a comment and a question. Let's start with the question first. Do you expect us to run off-color lands or something to specialize into a color that is not like your two main colors? Let's say I have a specialized card and the red version is very good, but I have a black-red deck. Am I ever going to go out of my way to create the red version? Question mark.
I would have to have maybe a more specific example there but I don't. I doubt it, honestly.
Yeah,
one color, and it's just like you're a monocolor, and it's like one free swamp or something, maybe. Like if you don't have like anything else, but I don't think that you ever want to like, especially with like no fixing in this set. If you're two colors, like I at least want like my 7 sources of whatever color with my like, you know.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a lot of room for it.
I might run an off-color gate if I have 5 color mana sources in my deck anyway, because the gates are also basic type.
Yeah. So also, I think most of the specialized cards, like, it's not obvious. There isn't like an obvious best.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
Most of them are like fairly equal and it's like or situational, so it's like not that much value to do that kind of splash.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that because most of them are just like minute differences between them, and possibly even, at least I hope so, that most of them, the specialization should help the theme of the particular color combination. So if you make the off color, it might be slightly stronger but less synergistic, for example. At least that's what I hope for.
Oh yeah, I think the monocolor ones are consistently weaker, by the way.
Okay.
Which makes sense. That makes sense because that one is easier to specialize into, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and a question by Sittler in the chat. Have they said officially if specialize is sorcery speed or not?
I think it is sorcery, but I don't remember where I read it.
Interesting. Oh yes, it says activate only as sorcery, folks. It says in the screenshot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't say it on the front half of the card, but it doesn't say it on the back half, which makes total sense.
I don't know if specialized is like morph speed kind of thing. Like you know how
no. It's I think it's.
Based on the screenshot, I'm going for sorcery speed.
Okay.
Here it says.
Morph, yeah, or like a sorcery morph kind of thing. Like when they first revealed specialized, I thought it might be a thing where like you specialize and it just happens and then there's the trigger, but maybe there's 2 triggers. I think now I think it's probably like you specialize and then someone can respond to it, but
yeah,
still
interesting. Hey, and the question that I had was, doesn't it bother you that normally I was always told that a basic land does not have a color, right? And now
that's why it says that
lands.
it's based on that's why it says that it's based on the color or a land type. Land type is assigned to a color, so it doesn't have a color, the land itself, but the land type is associated with giving mana of a particular color.
Makes sense. Okay. Sure, that's acceptable, I guess. All right. Okay, moving on. That was a good discussion on specialized. We were trying to get away without it, but I think we needed it.
I kind of train wrecked in my preparation when I started seeing all the specialized and like trying to figure out what happened. It took me like an hour to get through it. I was like, oh my gosh, like what a rabbit hole.
It was worth an explanational video. Yeah, for sure. Maybe someone should make that.
Like, wait, should we just sum up that black is good? Black
is good.
Good.
Black
good. Good.
Black equals strong.
I mean, even Jason surely has to agree with that.
Yes.
I mean, I think black-white's going to be insane.
I think Mardu colors are looking pretty solid.
The sacrifice thing doesn't really work with white, right? Although they have tokens.
But you can blink your vampire spawns.
Yeah, maybe it's supported. Yeah, for sure. Oh, that sounds.
I already see that Tajoordan just wants one thing, and it's disgusting.
Yes.
I want to cast 2 3s.
Okay, red. Aggro, treasure, goblins. That all sounds very AFR, right?
Although,
aggro, treasure,
but I think that I wrote goblins mainly to stress that not as many goblins as there used to be, and I think that that's going to make the goblin synergy of the what is it, battle cry goblin? It's going to be markedly weaker. I mean, it was the one of the best uncommons in the previous.
It creates a whole army like on its own. I think that it supports itself personally.
Yeah, it
and
does,
we're only
but
missing
I mean,
a 5-drop, right?
yeah,
Pawel?
but
Or
that
do you
5
have
drop was
other?
really cool with that.
Yeah,
We
I
do
had
gain
decks
a
without it.
1/1. We do gain a 1/1.
Yes.
That's something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The 5-mana goblin is out, John. That's that for sure. Okay. Then it also says dragons, ramp and steel, and we have young red dragon here pictured, a card that I'm not like super big on.
I just felt like it fit well in the design. It mentioned 2 of the words on the side, and I think that it's a super aggressive card that I'm excited to personally try out in both black red and white red. But
it's funny. I thought it was a super grindy color card for a 5-color deck that maybe later acts as a threat that will have to be dealt with.
Ooh, I like.
Yeah, how is this card aggressive, Benji? Help me out here.
So I think it's aggressive because it's a 4-mana 3-power flyer that cannot block. So when a card says cannot block on it, it pretty much only goes in an aggressive shell. One thing of note is that it does kind of like a Seruf's Packmate. If you don't have a 2-drop, it casts itself on turn 3, which is kind of interesting. And that's about all.
Yeah, I agree.
I mostly don't like it because like I don't really want a 3/2 flyer that can't block on turn 3 with nothing else.
Yeah.
But I could see it doing some work.
Okay.
Yeah,
no
it's definitely going to be a card that is interesting.
Everybody is shitting on the dragon.
So it goes. All right.
Look, Tajoordan, you're not going to make it in the big world without ruffling some feathers. In this case, you just ruffled the feathers of all the 3 co-hosts and the chat. But apart from that, you're golden.
I'm envisioning myself a debate podcast. Maybe we should call it something like Mystical Dispute, where Tajoordan defends young red dragon.
Oh my gosh! I had no idea that I have a friend in young red dragon that no one else likes.
I do like. At least I'm curious about the card. And I think it can be good. But I was thinking about it more from 5-color fixing capability, and at the same time being a dragon and not serving as an aggressive thing, but more like we are playing a control gameplay. There is the treasure to ramp us up and fix the coloring so that we can play the powerful cards. Once the dust settles, I'm left with the young red dragon that will sort it out in like 3-4 turns.
Yeah, that will hold the air.
Not that I want to hold the air. It will be just a moment where it will be attacking.
when you're in a grindy deck, you don't really want a card that just says make a treasure and can't block on it. So like as much as I want to hype up the dragon, I don't think it's good in the deck that you're describing either. So it might just be bad.
But that's exactly no. You look, because Benji, what you're doing right now is you're just basically saying Jason was right, and we can't have that kind of stuff.
That's fair. Yeah, right. We can't all pick Imperial Oath. You know, some of us have to pick young red dragon.
Exactly.
Yeah, Clarm is asking whether there's an adult gold dragon, but it's called seasoned gold dragon.
Ooh.
Hey, and young red dragon, just some Baldur's Gate commander experiences that I had with it. The reason it was good is because you needed to hit the person that had the investigate thingy. I lost the name of it, but attacking in the air was pretty important in that format. And young red dragon sucked because there were so many 2/1s in the air that it was initiative. Yes,
okay, yeah.
You could use young red dragon to take the initiative.
Oh, young red dragon's a reprint. Let's go. I've never played
the Baldur's Gate commander set.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
it wasn't good in the set that had lightning bolt at common. I mean,
we throw those out.
Talking about.
You know, that's a bad sample.
True. Okay, green. I see Hurt Gorger. I see Owlbear. I'm a happy human.
Hey.
Yeah, but I think that this is the main theme of the green that I found was chunky creatures, because it has like pretty good high end and pretty good ways of getting there. So there is like more adventures in green than in other colors, which is marginal. There is plenty of ramp, and then here we have the Understellar Myconate, which is fixing for 5 colors, but there's also a Dragon Fixer for 2 mana, O2, that makes you gain life when you play a dragon creature. And there is a bunch of other ramping things. There's the spell that brings a gate into play of any color.
Track down, maybe? I could be wrong there.
I think track...
follow the tracks?
I don't know. Find the Path wasn't from AFR. Something like that.
One thing of note, I think, with green is I think that there's kind of a dichotomy in the color where it supports 2 different ideas, and it's really prevalent in their 2-drops. You have 2 playable 2-drops that you probably don't want in the same deck in the Null Hunter and the Undersilk Basilisk. I think that the Basilisk is super interesting with the 2 creatures. There is a punch card, not a fight spell. So the Basilisk is nice there. The Basilisk works well with the ramp card pictured here. Like going Basilisk 1/2 into Owlbear could be solid. And then you have the other curve of like turn 2 Null Hunter into turn 3 Circle of the Dreams Druid, where you're attacking and getting the Battle Cry trigger or whatnot, the 6 power, I forget what it's called. But I think
Tactics.
Pack Tactics. But I think that it's super interesting how green definitely feels split to me. When looking at the cards.
Agree.
Yeah, I think that what you touched on there is like absolutely true. That it has 2 good 2-drops, but I think that all the other information from the set points to a conclusion that Null Hunter is just a trap, and you should focus on the Basilisk because it's so versatile. It does so much stuff together, and then turn 3 you ramp, turn 5 you start owlbearing, and then you're quite happy, I guess.
Yep. At that
and there's
point,
some, there's surprisingly a lot of self-mill graveyard synergies in this color. So I think that we fell into a trap of underappreciating and underestimating black-green at some stage with Neon Dynasty, and I think that we shouldn't make that mistake here. The interesting part is that a bunch of those self-milling cards in green can mill but don't have to, which was an awkward problem I found when playing Maestros in Streets of New Capenna, that sometimes you just like, well, I guess I can't play my spell. I'm just going to sit in my hand because I can't afford to mill 4 more cards. And the fact that they have May mill is quite useful there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Dive into Archetype Skeletons?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So a little caveat. I think 9 out of the 10 archetypes are built by either Tajoordan or Siekovitz. So we're going to do a Benji Pawel.
Hey.
So if it's not from Benji, it's probably from Pawel. Let's dive into green white. Each time we'll go into an archetype, I'll do this and we'll watch it over here. I think that's a more convenient way of looking at it. I can hover over cards and stuff. Whose one is this? And talk us through.
That one's got to be Pawel's because it's got some sort of giant rare that I've never read before.
Oh,
what
yeah.
What were your thoughts, Pawel?
Also, it doesn't have 2 celestial unicorns, which yours, I assume, will have.
Oh, you know me too well.
Well, you hinted to that. But yeah, generally, I try to put some life gain synergies and try to make it a sort of U-shaped mana curve where I have a bunch of 2-drops, bunch of 3-drops, and not much more after that, and then a bunch of big things. And that was the plan, basically. I think that because you have so many creatures, you might want to play this Patriarch's, what is it? Humiliation, the 1 mana thing that deals damage for as many creatures as you control. It has some creatures that can ramp, and I don't know if I picked the right ones. It has all the enablers, so Prosperous Innkeeper I think is absolutely essential if you want to go on the life gain synergies. It's just I'm not sure if that's the way to build the deck, but I guess you can try. That's the point I'm having there. And there is not so much life gain because when you think about it at the common level, you have the Priest of the Ancient Lore, and you probably want to load as many of those as you can physically do. You have a sort of Dawnbringer cleric that can give life, which it is something. And apart from that, you really need to lean on that Prosperous Innkeeper and on some lifelink creatures like this Steadfast Paladin. If you can make them survive a bit longer, that's going to put you much further in the game. Because I guess the idea of the life game kind of synergies is you want to have 1 or 2 Trilasaras and you want to bring them to a 5/5, and then you're going to be probably quite happy with how much their life gain achieved. But it shouldn't be like be all is all. I think that Steadfast Paladin and Priest of Ancient Lore are just good cards on their own. And if you can add a couple of extra points of life that you can gain from one card or another, then you're probably golden.
So I think that in addition to the Dawnbringer Cleric at common, which you don't want to play, there are some other like very questionable cards that are your options, which are the 3-mana 2/3 Vigilance that rolls a d20 to gain life. And then you also have the Inspiring Bard, which I think is more reasonable than the other options, where you can either gain 3 life or give +2/+2 to a creature. And so those are the ways that you can try to support the unicorn if you want to, but I do agree that it's not super supported. And I totally agree with your comment about green white being a very creature heavy build. And I think that's one of the reasons that I put the card You Meet in a Tavern, the 4-mana sorcery, into my green white shell. Even though I didn't really like that card in AFR, it seemed to be, either very good or very bad, as those type of effects typically are. But I think that green white is always going to be very creature dense, and I think that was a good thing.
Yeah. Did you also put the make 3/1/1s into your build then?
I might have forgot to put that one in there, but I think that's another good fit.
But that doesn't. Sorry, I missed your logic there, Paul, because that's a sorcery, right?
Is it a sorcery? It says tap 3 creatures.
Yeah, you just have 3 creatures and you give them +2/+2. That's great.
You leverage the other mode of Meet in the Tavern. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I missed that logic there. Yeah, looks solid.
But that's why I put the what's the name? The mycozoid thing that also can generate quite a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
So you can gain life from your Prosperous Innkeepers. But I think that most likely than not, it's going to lean very lightly on those life gain synergies and just try to make a solid aggro go wide kind of approach.
Yeah. Yep. I think so. Personally, I think the whole life gain synergy is a bit it's not supported very much, and I think white green will just be like very.
But it also doesn't require you. It doesn't require you to invest a lot in it, because like Trilasera, if you trigger it twice in the game, it's way better than you would expect, and that's like the only real payoff that you have.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play the Lurking Roper, but it's also questionable in this case. I just put it in just to notice that this card does exist, but I don't think that you have probably enough of the repeatable lifelink triggers. You might, on some higher rarities, you have some things that give lifelink tokens on lifelink counters on the creature. You might want to look into those, but I had to look into specialized cards, and that was just way too much work, so I didn't even want to figure out which one is that.
It's a shame we couldn't get a Civic Gardener reprint there for the Roper.
Ooh. No, did you know that Prosperous Innkeeper is a citizen?
Whoa!
I did not. Synergy.
Hey.
Synergy. Hey, what do you think of this card, the Owlbear Shepherd? I find that one a bit win more. At least that's how I experienced it in Commander Baldur's Gate.
So I put this card based on my experience of playing green-white in the AFR, where very often I played my green-white and it led to like some majestic board stalls. And I think that drawing an extra card every turn when you are in that kind of a board stall would be beneficial. That's why I put it. It's not that you're going to have like big creatures even, but you're going to have white boards, both of you, and you're going to be staring at each other a lot. And I think that drawing 2 cards per turn in those situations is going to be something that will win you the games.
Yeah. Is this better or worse than an enchantment that would draw you a card if you have a creature with power 4 or higher?
Better.
You think this is better?
Oh yeah, it blocks.
That's true.
I would
but
never
it also
play that
dies.
other card. Yeah,
it also dies.
I don't mind dying.
Yeah, I think being a 1/4 is definitely better than being an enchantment generally.
I think that also something that maybe was not the case in AFR, but in this format, there's so much of the random enchantment and artifact hosing. I mean, I looked through it and I said everything that is an enchantment is losing slightly in my evaluation because there's a bunch of things that just have a random adventure that destroys an artifact enchantment, or when it specializes, destroys an enchantment and whatever.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and a good comment there that the hill giant plus the shepherd already reached the condition.
That's what we want.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah, that's a neat combo. Yeah, so if you got 3 of these, which is not unreasonable, then this card is bonkers. Yeah, cool. Moving on. White, blue. I think this one then is yours, Jordan. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed, this one is mine. I think that I missed at least one card that was like Blink related because I was looking at like some of Jason's cards, and I think that there should be some of the white like draw card +2/+0 or whatnot. I think belongs in this deck, but it's not in there right now. And pretty much what we're going with is just some blinking stuff. We've got like, you know, minor life gain, just trying to get to the late game. The blue uncommon was kind of interesting. It like scries 2, draws some cards, gains life, kind of gets you there. And I didn't put a lot of rares into my archetype skeletons in general, but my blue ones I did, because I feel like the blue decks are the ones that you're gonna have blue cards in your deck because of a higher rarity choice or something like that. So I just kind of picked this random giant blue flyer, but that's kind of like a placeholder for pretty much whatever. I think that blinking the air cult elemental, the 2/6, as well as like if you can get that the 4/3 uncommon dragon to blink, those are super solid cards. I think Pilgrim's Eye kind of has a home here, just to kind of ramp you up, to kind of thin the lands out. And if this deck is going to be reasonable as like a blink theme deck, it's definitely going to be based on the fact that the blue like flicker a card or whatever, because it draws a card, so like you can get some value there. But I mean, the more I look at cards like Dragon's Fire being in the set, I really wonder how playable that card's going to be, because it's 3 mana, and like if your opponent has 2 up, you can't really cast it. So I am not too sure how blue white will do. I definitely could have gone, you know, a little more aggressive with like flyers and like double spell kind of thing. But yeah, this is one of the first skeletons I built, and if I were to queue up with this on day 1, I wouldn't have like a whole lot of faith in like going 2/1 even. I don't think it's great.
Yeah, I have a couple comments. First of all, I love how few blue cards are in this deck.
Yes.
Sounds about, yeah. It sounds about right.
But at least all of them are double pipped.
Yeah, so it does require you to have islands in your deck.
Yeah, I don't know. I wondered on putting together blue decks in general if I was doing remotely anything right.
So I am kind of skeptical on blur here. Like,
yeah,
like this looks like you've like maximized blur, right? Like you have a lot, like all the good ETBs, but like even still, like if you play the Priest of Ancient Lore with blur, it's great. You've built a divination.
Right. Yeah. It's like, actually, like the more I think about it, it just, it's not good. Like, it's funny because
it's not divination. It's a block a large creature, blink it, so you gain 7 life or 6 life or 5 life, and you divinate. That's okay.
Yeah. But so when I built this skeleton, I was like going through like building a blue black deck or something, and I scrolled through and I saw the blur card, and I was like, oh, like this is what I want to do with Priest of Ancient Lore. And so like that was kind of like my starting point for like when I started building the blue white deck, is I was like, I'm going to start with this package and go from there. And now like the more we've talked about the set and everything, the more I'm just like, yeah, like, I mean, there's Dragon's Fire, there's the black uncommon that kills 100% of commons. Like this blur card is going to be really hard to pull off. There's a green instant that punches. There's all sorts of things. Like you can bounce it in blue. Like it, I mean, I guess if you're bouncing an ETB thing, it's not that bad. But I do really question blur, even though it was the starting point for this deck, just coming full circle. It seems scary to cast.
Okay, but my problem with that comment, Small Sam, of blur being fake your own death bet 3 mana, is that also it doesn't trade up. It just doesn't trade with you. Like instead of trading with your opponent's creature, you draw a card, which is worse.
Yeah,
That's true. That's good for bad blocks, and it's not good for good blocks.
It seems so inefficient.
One time I killed my opponent for 6 damage with 3 fake your own deaths, and you can't do that with Blur either.
Yeah.
But there's, I think, and don't get me wrong, I missed it myself too. There's one category of cards that I think also benefit wildly from Blink, and these are the double team cards. Because when you play the double team card and it attacks and you get a copy, it loses double team. But I'm pretty sure if you blink it, it doesn't say that it perpetually loses double team. So if you blink it, it regains double team. So you basically can get extra value from that.
I forgot.
Okay,
that it loses double team.
They must say it, I'm almost certain. It's almost certainly true that it perpetually loses double team, because
it never says so that it perpetually loses it.
Well, otherwise it couldn't lose it. The copy in your hand can't lose double team. Like, there's no normal mechanic that like causes the copy in your hand.
No, it just says that. Can you go to the?
Yeah, it says the copy in your hand does not have double team.
It's described there, I think.
Yeah, I do think that Pawel's right, and that I think that in the ability itself, it says the copy that you like conjure into your hand or whatever it's the copy, except it does not have double team.
Huh. So
double team. Reads, when a creature with double team attacks, if it's not a token, conjure a duplicate of the original into your hand, and then both cards lose double team.
Lose?
Oh.
It doesn't say perpetually?
Whoa, okay. Yeah, no, that's super interesting. That's not the way I thought it was either.
It doesn't say perpetually, so...
Okay, well, I think this is something where we'll have to see. I think my prediction is that if you attack with the Soldiers of the Watch, and then in response to the attack trigger, you blink. In response to the double team trigger, you blink your own Soldiers of the Watch. I predict that then it will definitely work. You'll definitely get like save the double team, but I'm not convinced that it'll work if you just randomly have a Soldiers of the Watch that you've already played that like doesn't have double team anymore. Like, I don't.
It's like 4 limited streamers trying to solve questions that should be answered like a week ago.
Yeah. Do we have a judge?
Yeah, I'm curious. What card comes back on the battlefield? Is it the Soldiers of the Watch without double team, or the Soldiers of the Watch with double team?
Oh yeah, another thing, like if like the copy on the battlefield did like lose double team but not perpetually, and the copy in your hand lost double team but perpetually, then if you play the copy, like they're different cards now. That's so weird. That's
what Alchemy's all about. 2 different cards with one name.
Who knows? Maybe 50% of your sepulcher ghouls are going to be 2/1s and 50% are going to be 2/2s.
They're both in packs.
Just 2 unique uncommons, and so the plint rate is doubled as well, right? So you just get like double the amount of ghouls that we got in AFR because they're simply 2 different commons. Yeah,
like Evolving Wilds in double feature.
Yeah. I think to soapbox for a bit. I think one problem with Alchemy, like at least how Magic has been implementing Alchemy, like how WotC has been implementing Alchemy, is that like they're trying to mix the like rigor of paper Magic wording of like, you know, long paragraphs on cards like enters the battlefield like as a phrase, with like a digital space where a lot of digital card games work by like just making it work and not explaining to you explicitly how it works. Like if you go to Hearthstone, it'll just say like battle cry, like it'll have like 2 words on the card and it'll mean like a bunch of different things. But like I feel like they're trying to straddle the line there and not doing it particularly well. And this is like
they took some steps. No, they put the boon thing. That's more understandable, I think, and more formalized. So I think it's getting in the right direction. It's just teething problems.
Yeah. Honestly, I would prefer if they hadn't introduced the word boon. I think they could be better served by going in the opposite direction and making the cards like less explicitly explained, but like just have like a mechanics article somewhere out there that like rigorously explains it there, but like not on the cards.
Well, then
But
you
I don't know,
could
that's
like
just...
highlight the keywords, like one-word keywords, and that's it.
Oh yeah, I really hope. I like don't have any faith, but I really hope that on the specialized cards, when you're choosing which version to specialize, it'll highlight the differences on each card. But I doubt that'll happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we both know not. We all know.
I for one,
Plastic
I'm just not a big fan of deviating between the online and the paper game. I'm playing Arena mostly to practice for Paper Magic. That is like disappearing now, right? That concept just doesn't. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Like maybe I'm old fashioned, but yeah, I like to like come to my FNM prepared, right? Because I drafted the format 6 times that week. I enjoy that. But Alchemy Horizon's Baldur's Gate,
showing them.
yeah.
And then you've got Siekovitz playing 5 colors at the LGS down there.
Yeah.
But that's why I go to the LGS, because then I can do all the crazy stuff and still manage to get a trophy out of it on occasions. So
yeah. I get. Not everyone has to interact with it. Metal Mario. That is true. Savage John. Okay, let's move on. Next up, we got Black Blue, and I see a lot of vampire spawns, so I already like this.
I think this one's Pawel's though, although I also had a bunch of vampire spawns.
I mean, I put the Hourglass Coven because I put it in every black deck because it's a rare and you can put it in a deck. Therefore, I put it in every deck.
You put the lands in because you try really hard.
Yeah, that's true. I put the lands. Every single deck I did was 9-8 split because that's how simple lands are in this format.
Love to see
which
it.
is going to be a lot of bad beats based on drawing wrong side of your mana base because there is no fixing for 2-color combinations. Oh,
yeah. You thought my blue-white deck was bad. Look at these black cards. Good call, Josh.
I mean, I put an Air Cult Elemental. I put the Young Dragon and the other dragon because I think that the 4/3 dragon is literally a good card, so I put it in, and I put a Soul Knife Spy because I just felt bad that it's so black in this deck. That yeah, but basically what I did was I took the best black cards. I took the 2 Ghasts, 2 Grim Bounties, 2 Vampire Spawns, Skullport Merchant, and a couple of other cards that are from the new thing. I put the 1 Reanimator spell because I think it might be quite quite a useful thing in this particular deck combination. I think that probably the more we play, the more viable this Reanimator strategy will be, but it needs definitely honing. And basically, it's like a sort of a mixture between I'm going to attack with unblocked things, survive by playing my life gain and removal, and wait to play some kind of a top end, hopefully culminated by a bomb, which when dealt with, I can reanimate.
Yeah, I think that we both, like in our skeletons, kind of missed that like reanimate theme with the black common that almost might be like way more viable than we realized with like the looter and stuff like that. And I'm actually really excited to try out some blue-black stuff based on like what we talked about earlier, because I do think it could have some legs, like if it is, black-based.
Yeah, I mean, I knew of its existence, and I think that I have it in other color combinations, but I just decided to try to go and build around Krydle because that's what they tell me to do, and that's what I tried to do with early versions of the skeletons. I tried to at least attempt doing what they tell me to do.
Yeah. But, so, what are the good reanimation targets? Like, there's not that many yet, like low rarities, right? Like obviously, there's like the dragons.
Black Dragon is a good reanimator target.
Okay. Yeah. I guess my problem with the reanimation.
There's the uncommon 7, 8, 8, 7 or 7, 6, 7, 8 maybe. There's like a big blue dragon that is unblockable when you have some.
Yeah, it's like a serpent or no, it is a dragon. Yeah.
I guess my main problem with the reanimation strategy is like you have to play a lot of like bad commons to enable it. I think like you can play Gray Salad, and I guess that's probably
Gary Salad. That's officially because everything in Magic that is gray is called Gary. So that must be Gary Salad, no?
Yep. You can play Gary Salad. I don't know if you want to though. I don't know. And you can play the Looter, but I'm pretty down on that card. It just feels like Black has so many better commons that if you're scraping the bottom of the barrel for Black commons, it's probably going to be hard to build.
But that's why I think that I put much more reanimation in the green-blue, because I think that green has actually quite good graveyard filling cards.
I think that the green 4-drop that's power and toughness equal to the one in the graveyard or whatever. I think that that's a card that could work interesting with the self mill and graveyard strategies too, as just a serpentine curve kind of threat.
Yeah, but the problem with that is Serpentine Curve was good because you it just got big by you doing what you wanted to do anyway.
Yeah, and you needed a threat with what you were trying to do, whereas in this Reanimate deck you don't.
If you're playing Reanimator deck, you want to fill in your graveyard, and you're doing it anyway, especially when you're doing it via self-mill and not by discarding cards by looting. You can do that in green-black, and
that's a good hot take, Small Sam.
I like it.
Sam is just relentless today.
I was looking for Warlocks.
We can talk about it when we go to the green-black, but
I don't know if there's any Warlocks.
I just noticed Merchant is a citizen. That's so much combo potential.
You know, with Merchant, my biggest surprise was when I played it in a I tried to make this treasure deck with Magda, and I all of a sudden discovered, oh, it's a 2/4 now. Why would that be? Oh, it's a dwarf.
It's a dwarf, yeah.
So then I started attacking with 2/4 Sculpted Merchant to make treasures from Magda.
Yeah. This is a card that has types. This card is very good in Baldur's Gate Commander, by the way. That Menace Death Touch was something else.
Are you getting 4 creatures in your graveyard that often?
Yeah, you did in the Commander set pretty easily, honestly. Not sure how it'll play out here, but we'll see. But this was a house.
I'm
really
just pretty worried about just a 4/1 for 3 that just trades down with against all of White's creatures.
Yeah, for sure. But as soon as it starts trading with 2 pieces of cardboard, then you're doing it.
I mean, yeah, against White, they just don't block it. They just attack.
They just attack you back.
What? They attack with their pathetic creatures into my Shambling Gust? No.
Yeah, it's bad against I was gonna say Shambling Gast also crushes it.
Yeah, and Zoix asks what combos with citizens. It's a joke. It's a CNC, SNC reference. Nothing more, Zoix. There's nothing here.
It can give a Civic Servant lifelink. That's the combo.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
True.
Anyways, basically, my problem with the Reanimate stuff is a 5-mana Reanimate spell. You there's not that much payoff to playing you have to have something that costs 6 or 7 mana, 6 or more mana at least to get any benefit out of it, rather than just playing the 5-mana card.
Play an extra creature. Yeah. Play an extra big creature, right? Over this.
And realistically, if you're just reanimating an air cult elemental, that's not gonna win you the game or anything. So you need to have a lot of payoff for that setup.
I think you literally need a broken mythic or something.
And it will come, I think, in this format that you will get those things. And I think that Reanimator is much better suited for green-black than green-blue.
I agree.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, let's move on then.
All right, so blue-black Reanimator might not be it.
Not it.
Sorry, Benji, again, you're outvoted 3-1 there.
Did somebody include an AFR screenshot here?
No, that was probably me. Yeah, that was probably just me.
No, Lance, that's Tajoordan. We know.
Yep.
Oh no, you put one game.
Oh, yeah, it's got double the red dragon, so it's me.
Oh, you're red dragon. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to attack there. I'm not trying to block here. Another way to attack is for 4 mana would be to take their creatures and attack with it. So really, my plan here is to get cards like Hobgoblin Captain onto the battlefield, and then start attacking the opponent for giant chunks of life and removing threats and minor steel sack package. The ideal version would have more than one Sepulchre Ghoul, but I was trying to be somewhat realistic. And with how low people are on the dragons, I think that this is pretty realistic. So
how do you feel about the 1-mana red haster?
I don't know if I saw
strong.
it. I saw one red like uncommon that originally was in the deck, and
This one, right?
does it tap to give Perpetual Ace? I think that card could be really solid. I was playing around with it in my green red deck. I think my green red deck might have that with like the Knoll Hunters and stuff.
That's sweet.
But yeah, I could see that card being interesting because I think it was Amonkhet. There was a card that was similar. And I remember like losing to it at a pre-release, and that card ended up being good. But I could be totally misremembering that. But
I'm looking forward to Rabble Rouser dot deck. I'm looking forward to 5 of these in my 2-drop slot, and just going like all the way, like 7 dwarfs, but then better.
I think that card is really interesting.
Even better. Turn 1, play Warcaller. Turn 2, play Rabble Rouser. They hasted in.
Yes,
pretty hard to
go.
block.
Just go.
And on the attack turn, you also sacrifice 3 of the 2/2s for 2 red mana just to pump the team.
Yeah. There's something here. Like, I was looking whether there was a way for me to name other cards Genasi Rebel Rouser, but unfortunately there weren't. But 5 or 6 of these, and I think you're doing it.
It's almost as if it was like your own personal rebel rousing.
Yeah. You're telling me that Spy Kit is not in this set?
But I looked for the effect though, but no, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a neat little thing.
Oh, there are tieflings. You can also combo it with the big lord at the mythic. I think there's a Rakdos.
Oh, there's a 1-mana lord too.
+1 and lifelink, I think, for all the tieflings.
There's a 1-drop. This is a +1/0.
It's the 1-mana double team thing.
Yeah, that thing looks sweet. Actually, I think that'll be a.
Oh yeah, no, the 1-mana, but there's also like a 5-mana lord.
Okay.
In Rakdos colors, the Raphael Fiendish Savior.
Oh yes. Is it here? It is in the Commander set.
It's there.
Yeah,
I saw it. You literally scrolled away from it. There.
Yes. Yeah. So there's Tiefling synergy here with the Bard. What other Tieflings do we have? Any other types?
Oh, Grim Wanderer. There's your Warlock for our last.
Hey, got there.
That is a Warlock.
Well, Valor Slinger is a tiefling.
Yeah, I think that's literally the only one that I found. And then there's Devil and Imps.
And demons, I think, no?
Devils, demons, yes. Imps. Not a lot of those, though, unfortunately. They should have, like, redid some creature types.
There's 9. The black 2-1 is a tiefling.
The black 2-1. Oh, yes, the good card.
Remember that?
Yeah,
one?
the broken card. Where is it again?
It's not in the deck. And Horde Robber is a tiefling.
Oh, that's a tiefling.
Oh, wow, we're getting there.
There's a Chain Devil, which is a devil.
This deck literally builds itself. Here, Tiefling Barbarian.
I think
Dragon Barbarian.
And who can forget such classics as Nefarious Imp, which is an imp?
Yes.
I am disappointed that the Kobold Warcaller is a 1/1 instead of a 0/1.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Not on theme. But okay, so basically aggro with some steal and suck.
Yes. Well, yeah. Or some
full tiefling synergy.
Full tiefling synergy.
It can be done.
Or Rebel Rousers, just 6 of them with some.
Or just black has good cards.
Black has good cards. Splash Red Dragon or something, right? You could play like mono black, splash like 2 young red dragons.
I mean, I still think that I still think that they removed a lot of treasure synergies, but even with all the removed treasures, there is still hopes of casting like turn 4 elemental, the 6/6 elemental. Like that was one of my favorite builds in AFR, that I basically Shambling Gust, Kalain, improvised weaponry, turn 4 elemental, Yogo, and those decks usually turned out quite well.
Oh yeah. Also, another thing, I think removal is actually gets a bit better in this set because of double team, right? Like, imagine your opponent plays the 2/1 double team in white on turn 2 on the draw, and then you on the play turn 3, you just improvise weaponry, kill your double team thing, make a treasure. You're so far ahead. Like you've you got a treasure. You cleanly dealt with their double team threat. Like, yeah.
But conversely, that might be why your 1/1 haste giver might be just a busted card, because then you skip the problem because most of the removal is in sorcery speed. So
yeah,
exactly. This thing is really good with double team. Well, how good do we think this card is? The Gnoll Hunting Party.
Oh, busted. Like, absolutely.
Okay,
busted.
I was like unsure on it, but like I thought it was like a 4-mana 4/4, and I was gonna put it in my red-white deck, but I didn't. But I read that card a lot, and it seems super interesting.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, if you can get this down to like turn 2 you play a creature, turn 3 you play a creature, turn 4 you attack with both of them, and then you play Gnoll Hunting Party. And then it's really hard for your opponent to deal with it without a removal spell, because like it's really hard to prevent a 4/4 first strike from attacking.
Yeah, this is neat. I think so too.
I mean, yeah. And even if you probably would kill one of their creatures, maybe even lose it, but then you have a second one to lean on.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Like, why does it have double team? Is there a need for that Gnoll Raiding Party to have double team? Is there a very good reason? I don't think so.
I mean, it's a push on common. I mean, like, it's not like it's probably not like format warping in terms of being pushed on common or anything. Like, I don't think it's better than Disciplined Duelist. Like,
it will be annoying. It will be definitely on the annoying side of things.
Yeah, and so the double team copy, right? It's going to cost 5 always, because it assumes you attack with Gnoll Hunting Party at the least.
Yep.
And it's probably going to cost a lot less, right? So that's going to be like a neat double spell turn, probably, where you add another 4/4 body to the board. Yeah, that's quite strong. I think this compares to Young Red Dragon a little bit. I think those are... Okay.
So maybe I cut the wrong 4-drop. But, I went with the dragon. I wanted some aerial presence, only on the attack, though. Not
I get that. I get that. It can block. It's an aggressive card. I see how that works. That is true.
I see can't block. I'm like, I don't do that anyway, so I must be getting some value.
This must go in my decks. Yeah, I get that.
That's Benji's.
No, I made this one actually. Yeah, it's the only skeleton I've built. It's a it's a ramp deck. It ramps.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I did not have that many artifacts in my green red deck.
It broke down. Wait,
I mean, Pilgrim's
it was too powerful.
It was too
Did
powerful.
you push clear deck by any chance? Just reload it.
Oh, that could be the case. Yes. Yeah. So how I got to this was by looking at the artifacts and noticing that Bronze Walrus, Pilgrim's Eye, and Meteor Golem were somehow pushing me into a ramp direction. I think they're all 3 pretty sweet. So then I started looking at ramp cards, and I felt that the red-green color pair supported that best. Red cards giving treasures, obviously, and green cards just being rampy, stuff like the Nurturer. Yeah, it also has some dragon synergies. I like the fact that the Reckless Barbarian, for example, is a dragon. I don't think you're going to sacrifice it a lot, but it's gaining you 2 life. Oh, wait, that's a Nombo. It adds green. Oh, no, that works. Yeah, that works. So I thought that was a neat little thing, that this was a 2/2 that would gain you 2 life if you got, like, double Nurture in the deck. Yeah, Druid is a nice ramper. I think I missed out on the green 3-drop. I think you definitely need to include that here.
Oh, yeah.
the
Missionit. I definitely missed out on that one. But yeah, overall, just ramp, stay alive, and play big green stuff in the form of Owlbear, Hill Giant, and
worth
and
noticing that the 7 mana, how much is it? 7/6, the Dread Lindworm.
Dread Lindworm, yeah, this one.
I was gonna say that, John.
That's a dragon, so with Dragon's Fire, that basically turns Dragon Fire into murder.
Yes, that's why I have 2 of these. I think Herdgorger is a better card, like by itself, but Lindworm in combination with Nurturer and Dragon's Fire, I think, is a decent card. Also, the fact that it has this instant speed trick attached to it. I think it in this kind of deck, it compares to Hill Giant, I think, power level-wise.
Yeah, I think...
You know, the adventure is not something that is nothing.
Oh, yeah,
No,
the
for
adventure
sure.
is probably good. Yeah. I think
easy.
my main problem with green in this set is that, like, your 2s are just, like, Basilisk, right? Like, I like...
Nurturer is good.
So...
Yeah, but
I'm
they're so
skeptical on Scaled
defensive.
Nurturer. Like, I think a 0/2 mana dork is, like, pretty bad. Like, it just doesn't do anything in the late game.
I'm really low on that 0/2
Gains you 2
myself.
life occasionally.
I don't think it's going to be very playable. I like the 3 drops for ramping. I think the 3 mana colorless card that like taps and scries 2 is going to be like really, really good.
And also the 3 mana 1/2 that, you know, makes a 1/1 when it enters and when it dies. That also seems like a lot better. Like, basically, one reason why I don't like the 2 mana Scaled Nurturer, right, as ramp, is that there's nothing at 4. Like, look at it, like, in your deck here, like the 1/4 drop, right? Like, there's nothing to do at 4.
It's definitely like a 3 to 5 like format, it feels like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the gain 2 life, that sounds like a lot to me. And like, this deck has 3, let's see, how many dragons do we have? 4, 5, 6. We got like 6 dragons, and they themselves are dragons, so that's like 7, assuming you have the other one on board. I think that is going to gain you like 4 to 6 life quite often in a game.
Sure, but like, consider gaining 4 to 6 life, like, compared to like having a creature with power and toughness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I would rather have like a 2/2 or you know, a 1/2 and 2 1/1s than have a 0/2 and gain 6 life.
The 2 1/1s will also gain you 7 life roughly by blocking a 3/3 and a 4/3 or something. If they are to be chumped, but they also can actually deal like 2 damage if need be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. If I wanted to make mana at the 2 drop slot, I feel like Young Red Dragon fits pretty well.
I mean,
you are not incorrect.
You're not wrong. The 2s
You're
are
not wrong.
bad in 2s are pretty bad in red green.
Oh,
so why don't you just use this 2 mana slot for ramping?
I mean, okay, Underdark Basilisk is probably fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess my main problem with Basilisk is like it just trades unfavorably with double team cards.
Yes, that is correct. How do we like Reckless Barbarian? I always find this sack something, add mana very hard to evaluate.
I think like filler 2 drop, like Tavern Swindler kind of thing. Like, I mean, once in a while you'll cast an Earth Cult Elemental off it, but like personally, I don't think it has a lot of
Earth Cult Elemental, and then you roll low on it. Suddenly you're going down to 3 lands.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be much more than a 2 drop.
But like Dark Ritual is a card, right? Like, I just always find this
not in Strixhaven Limited. It's not.
No, that's
hey. You didn't. You can draft Storm once in every 100 drafts.
Okay. Did you any of you build like any other like red green archetype? Maybe more of the pack tactics type deck? Did you feel that was like viable?
I don't think there's any pack tactics.
That's what there's just
I built. Like Null Hunter. Is there anything else?
There's Null Hunter and the Barbarian. Yeah.
I feel like you're just like Circle of Dreams Druid aggro is like the other way to do it, and like I don't think it's gonna be great, but I think that's like a way that you could kind of go.
Yeah, this is yours, I think.
This looks like my build for sure.
So double Captain, double Hunter, which was like a great 1-2 punch in Avar. Although you rather played black, though.
Yeah, is like I just put the blue-green rare in this deck because like I think people are gonna mistake that card as a blue-green card when it's just a green card. Like you should just not think about the blue mana text. Like just play the card as a 4 mana 4/5 that like has other abilities, and like I think that card's gonna be fine, and so that's why I threw it in like an off-color deck.
Always activated of treasures.
Yep, also true.
And
Also
there is
true.
a treasure in this deck.
Yeah.
I mean,
only one here because I had a lot of other 2-drops. So
only one was allowed to stand.
yeah.
I guess okay. My worry about like red green like pack tactics aggro in this set is this doesn't look like it got anything like doesn't look like it got much better compared to AFR, right? Like there's not.
No.
Yeah, Warriors of Tiamat I think is a very good include, right? That
Okay,
that
yeah,
adds
Warriors of
4
Tiamat
power
is-
haste. That's a neat pack tactics card. That,
Okay,
that
yeah,
like
well,
immediately
that-
triggers Null Hunter or
I think
Captain.
that the +3/+2 uncommon aura, that might be something that is
craving,
useful for
yes.
that deck.
Oh, I put that in my red-white deck. I thought that was a super
No,
interesting
you have it here,
card.
no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
How's
I
it
do.
called? How's it
Craving.
called? How's
It's
it called?
there. It's there. It's in the deck, like top of the 3 pile. I think no.
Craving of
Yeah, top
Oh,
card in the 3.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, I
sorry.
did put it in this deck. Okay, yeah, I thought this deck was, or this card was super interesting. I don't know if
I
it's
think
good or
it's
not,
really
but I want to
strong.
try it. Yeah, I want to try this card out big time.
+2/+2 haste and attacks each combat if able. Reds return blah 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 from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature you control.
So like imagine like you put it first
Whoa.
on the Hobgoblin Captain. It's an automatic activates itself. They have to deal with it somehow, which is not easy. They will basically have a mode, so they lose a creature every turn. Not the mode. What's the mode? Abyss. And if they manage to kill the captain, just put it on something else with haste for 1 mana, and it becomes a +2/+1 haste aura, which is still good. And then when they kill that, still +1/+0.
Yeah, that seems good. That
and also
seems
when
better
they kill
than...
that, you can still give it a +0/-1 haste.
Yeah,
aura,
and
which
haste, which is valuable, especially on stuff with double team that hasn't haste by itself.
Yeah, exactly. And stuff with double team is another thing that I think that this is going to be pretty good when you can instantly accrue the value from the double team, and
This is
also
what-
have a body if they deal with the first one.
It's only enchant creature you control, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
You can't
Oh,
use
if it
as
turned
a-
into a removal spell after that, that would be...
Whoa. Whoa,
Yeah.
man. It's just too much, Benji. We can't take that kind of level of...
They are doing it. Yeah.
But
Figured.
I don't know. I think this deck could be a thing. Like
Yeah.
being more aggressive.
It seems this cool. Fun to look at both halves of that equation, I think. Black white.
Oh, there are lands, so it's mine.
Yep, it's got a rare in
Yes.
it. It's Siekovitz's.
Guess what I did?
Tell me.
I
Started
took
with
2
vampire
champagne
spawn.
ghasts, some, green bounties, some vampire spawns. Yeah, this time I think I put 2 of the 2/1 death touch guys in this.
Yes, the Prowler
archetype.
is here.
Some
So
refined
Which is
deck
interesting.
building.
to get some kind of early aggression going on. 2 steadfast paladins, because I think that that's probably the best white creature in terms of common level.
Yep.
And
better than-
and I put a bunch of that stuff and then put some kind of decent uncommons, and it doesn't have a very much of a theme, but I'm pretty sure that this deck would have been good.
Yeah, I think white-black is going to be very good at just attritioning your opponent out.
Yeah, I think this is a lot better than the deck I built. This definitely looks like
No, I put the Sigil of Miracle for just memeing. I don't know if this card is working, but I will definitely try it in the first week.
I think
what is this
will
Sigil of
solve
Miracle?
that.
Is
Like
that the
this
death
one.
touch thing? I feel like I thought that card was bad, but I was like super unsure on it.
No, Sigil of Miracle is the self-milling thing that gives +1/+1 every turn. Yeah, and Death Touch. Does it give Death Touch?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, okay. I'm low on that card, but I could see it being somehow good.
I think
Yeah.
you need a deck with super heavy on creatures and maybe with some reanimation or whatnot.
I will note that double team does mean you like draw more creatures, so more
Ooh.
go to the graveyard. If you're trading off
Yes.
a lot of double team, that does make the have 4 creatures in your grave better.
Yeah, the double team copies are actual cards.
Oh,
right?
they're not.
That's
They're not
something.
tokens. That's
They're
super
not
interesting.
tokens. So that is definitely neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Also-
one is also good with Gary.
Gary Salad.
Yep, Gary
Gary
Salad.
Salad. Where is it?
Also,
Here, Gary
Swiftness,
Salad.
do you think Steadfast Paladin's going to be better than Priest of Ancient Lore?
Ooh.
I think so, because there's just like not much
Shots
going on in
fired.
the 2-drop slot.
Do you not like the double team 2-drop?
Ooh, putting him on the spot
I
here.
would.
I like it.
Like.
I think it's going to be easier to get 2 Steadfast Paladins than it's going to be to get 2 Priest of Ancient Lores. Like
That is
not wrong.
true, but that was not the limitation that we had.
Oh, true, but I mean that's why I didn't put two young red dragons in all my decks. Is they're going to be hard to find.
Hard to find.
Young dragons are hard to find. True. I think I would prefer like a bunch of 2-drops in this particular type of deck. But I might be wrong, and obviously I would not mind having multiple Priests of Ancient Lore, especially if you want to go a bit more attrition-y than it does.
I do like the synergy of like the 3/3 blink along with the vampire spawn and stuff as well. Like that 3/3 the hill giant that blinks for 3 and a white, I think is like really going to be like a glue piece for this kind of archetype if it ends up being good.
Oh yeah, because you can
the 3/3 blink is another interesting card for the question of if you have a Soldiers of the Watch that has already triggered double team, can you click that?
Yeah, that's a very
that's a great question.
Yeah,
because if you can, then the 3/3 blink becomes a lot better because like that's just another creature that's good to blink, right? Like just getting another 2/1, but like who knows?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen, so that they don't get the double team back. But it doesn't definitely. From the way it's written, it should come back.
Yeah, I think so too.
To be fair, like when they like wrote the mechanic for shield counters, right? When the Streets of New Capenna spoiler was coming up, like I'm pretty sure shield counters in the text did not say the word prevent, but then they later clarified.
I had the same because I was thinking about that exact thing with calling the professionals because I was thinking, but then it doesn't say prevent, it just say remove. But then they changed it to prevent. I think that they twitched it after. So I'm not crazy, okay? I mean, I might be still, but at least not in that particular aspect.
Yeah, super curious how this is going to work.
But I think that white-black decks are going to be probably relatively easy to build because you just put good cards and you lean on good cards. I don't think that there's like particular synergistic value. I put actually 2 multicolor spells in there because I think that the 6 mana 4/4 lifelink Death Touch looks pretty good, and I would be curious how the 2/4 works out because I think that this thing, if you have a bunch of smaller creatures, can get out of hand quite quickly.
Yes,
gives plus
this with soldiers is going to be
I think that's something. I think that Signpost Uncommon is very strong.
Yeah, especially if you get multiples. Like if you grab 2 of these, then it becomes like something else.
Yeah, if the second one already enters, giving your team +2/+0, that's insane.
Yes, that's insane, right? And it becomes like, a pre-combat trick. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah, like it.
Yeah.
Ooh, we got double Rebel Rouser and a Barbarian.
Yeah, I thought that if there was a spot for the Barbarian to be like decent, this was kind of it. I've got like the Plundering Barbarian uncommon replacement kind of thing because I think this is kind of like the deck that wants to like kind of like use early interaction to kind of like maintain parity and then kind of take over the game with like some big creatures in the late game was kind of my thought. And then that blue uncommon or the blue red uncommon, I'm sorry, with like the random drags that you have and stuff like that. It really seems like a card that if you can just maintain parity, get to a mid-late game like that can just kind of win the game if you're able to trigger it a couple times, casting like a big dragon and just it might even go to the face and just kill people.
Yeah, but, seven to face is a lot, right?
Yeah, and it can also kill creatures if I remember correctly. So it's definitely very solid. And yeah, Small Sam has not seen any young red dragons in this one, but yeah, I don't think this deck is very aggressive and I'm excited to try out blue red. I think that this is like personally like one of my favorite spots. Like obviously black red has treasure synergies as well, but improvised weaponry seems nice in blue red.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like this. What is the so outside of the golden common, right? Blue is not like adding a ton here. Would you agree?
Oh, I totally agree. I think that that blue again is just kind of a like when I look at blue, I think of it as a support color. Like I think that if you were to have a main blue deck, that it would typically be very much leaning on the upper rarity cards like uncommons and rares. And so with the archetype skeleton setup, like I don't think that you're going to see a lot of like realistic like blue decks that you would see that are like super heavy blue. Because like when you have the option to like just put in like multiple of commons, you're typically like always going to lean into like those black or white or red cards, I think. But yeah, I wanted to highlight that like I don't think that 4-mana 3/4 is a good card. I think that's totally like a filler card. But I think that if there's a spot that wants it, like maybe it's this blue-red deck that just kind of like it can block, it can filter, it can kind of get you to the things you need. It's like maybe it kind of serves that veteran dungeoneer role of AFR where like 3/4 is just a body that gets you to the late game and kind of bridges you to your 6/6s. That was kind of why I threw it in there. And those are my main thoughts on blue-red. I don't think it's much more than just removal spells and creatures.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we're missing something in blue.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels so unattractive to me right now. Which
no, by the way, while we were chatting, I saw that Aliator said that double team specifically says that it perpetually loses double team. Do you have a source for that actually? Because we looked at the article about the rules, and it just says loses. It doesn't mention the word perpetually. That's what confuses us, basically.
Yeah, indeed. Here it says
that's the lower.
Oh, it's the lower one. Yeah, both cards lose double team. Is there a Wizards article on the mechanics?
I checked also the Wizards one, and there was nothing about perpetuality of that loss.
Baldur's Gate exclusive mechanics revealed. Nah, I'm not going to find it. Somebody has a link.
5 websites have it.
Yeah, if okay. No, like the deck. Like the deck. Let's move on. Couple more to go. Here we got our Graveyard Matters deck in the form of
that's mine deck. Because it has land.
This is a lands. Beauty.
Give it to us.
So basically, this is like a very rudimentary version of it. I think if I thought much longer about it, I would put some cards into it that are not in it. But let's start with the first thing that I think is important. Like green has lots of incidental self-mill that can be switched off. Like loads of green cards will have you may mill X cards. Which is good if you want to fuel your graveyard, but it's also good that you can cast them late in the game without the risk of, flying too close to the sun, which I think was a problem with some of the self-mill themes in the recent years. So I think that this is a good step for Magic in general. Then I have the, usual package, Shambling Gusts, you need to survive and ramp yourself into something. Vampire Spawns, you need to survive. Obviously, Deadly Dispute, you can always use a Deadly Dispute in your deck, because why not? But on top of that, and I didn't go super hard in the reanimation, to be fair, but I have a couple of the bigger creatures, the Hill Giant, Headgorger, and Black Dragon. Obviously, if I played something like that, I would like maybe, one of the Mythic Dragons or like some kind of high rarity bomb. Maybe, even Actually, I think originally I did put as my rare, I put like the 10-10, 14-14, 15 mana 10-10 Flying Dragon. I think there is such a thing in there. Probably I didn't save the right version because I don't see a rare in it.
There isn't.
Okay, well, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, it's going to be at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, it's the Earthquake Dragon, right? Oh, it's way to the left. Sorry.
There we go. So yeah, I thought there was something bigger in it. And then you have like a couple of like really synergistic cards when you want to fill your graveyard. So you get the Circle of the Land Druid. That's a 2 mana 1/1 that mills 4 cards, and when it dies, you get a land back from your graveyard. So I think about this card like a bunch of aggression from the opponent's side is going to be X1s. I play this card, I mill stuff, hopefully get a land, 4 cards, it's quite likely. And then if I do, then I can block their X1, and even if they have the 2/1 that has double team, okay, they gain another 2/1. I'm gaining a land to my hand. Lands in my hand are very important, so I'm probably upfront in that exchange because I didn't lose any life. I got my land, so I don't miss my land drops, and I can move on with my life. Now there is also the signpost uncommon, the 1/4 with death touch, that when it attacks it mills 2 cards, and I can play one of those cards that turn, or any card that I milled that particular turn. There is also the Druidic Ritual, and that's 3 mana. You can mill 3 cards, and then after you mill 3 cards, you can return a permanent and a land card from your graveyard to your hand. So if your graveyard is already stacked, you just play it to get your best thing from the graveyard plus a land to be able to cast it. If you're still refilling your graveyard, you can actually also mill 3 and maybe get a better target. And while you're doing that, you can basically either you can play the reanimate spells, and there is an uncommon cleric as a 2-drop that can reanimate for 4 mana, and there is the 5 mana reanimation spell available. Plus, I think that this deck, if I play it like in this particular variant, should have those 4 mana dragons that become XX, where X is the power of something in the graveyard. Because if I would have a couple of bigger things, that would be pretty decent to play a 7/7 on turn 4.
I'm looking for it. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, that's the one. So probably you would want to play like 1 and maybe a couple of bigger creatures instead of the spawns or something, or instead of band together, because there is enough removal, and tweak it a bit. But general idea is that I want to mill quite a lot of things, get some card selection with. There's another one, the Split the Spoils. So it's sort of like a graveyard version of Fact or Fiction. So if you stack your graveyard, you can get like 2 good cards out of it, probably, because your selection is not from what is on the top. You can actually make that selection much more careful if your graveyard has like 8-9 cards. So you can put opponents into a really difficult choice there, like 2 good cards and a land, or 2 good cards and no land, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the general gist of it. And I think that like the longer I think about it, this sort of combo-y kind of self-milling green-black decks there can be something in it. I think that they are not complete. I think that there's plenty of synergy there, and there's cards that are not going to be that very much prioritized by anyone else that you can get that synergies with.
Yeah, you definitely convinced me that I'm going to try this out. I'm not sure whether I will include a lot of like Druidic Ritual, which seems like a horrible card to me. Also not a big fan of Summon Undead, but I do really like Bonecaller Cleric, for example, as a card. I think the fact that this is an early game blocker and also gives you a reanimate spell late game, I think that's very strong. Yeah, looks cool. I mean, Split the Spoil seems busted. That seems
but you
like
need to fill the graveyard, and that's why you need your Druidic Rituals to
yeah, but
I'd
rather fill my graveyard with like Gaga or the 2-drop indeed that you mentioned, or like just fill the graveyard by playing the video game.
Yeah, Druidic Rituals, you can get probably any copies that you get, and also you have that option of they will give you a land. So I think that this deck is a sort of deck that will die to not having enough mana, because you want to get to your 7 mana because you have 7 mana creatures in your deck based on the reanimator package that you put in. Oh yeah, but Gary Salad I think is a perfectly serviceable card in this form, in this deck.
Yeah, I think Gary is basically a better Druidic Ritual, right? You mill more cards.
Those things, and I think that I probably should have put Gary in there.
Yeah, it's literally like 1 cheaper than Ritual. It mills 1 extra, and it gives you a 4/1 with Menace and Death Touch in hand instead of a card of your choice.
Yeah, possibly.
I think this card is literally a better version of Druidic Ritual. Is my current.
It does cost 5 to do the same, but
no. This is 2 for mill 4 cards, right? And and Gray Salad is basically in your hand then, right?
Yeah, but then you have to pay 3 extra. Well, this one's 3 done
to cost it, but you have to cast the spell that you get from this anyway. Right?
Okay, I know. You don't get a land though from Gary Salad.
True, but this you can drop as a 3 mana 4/1.
Yeah,
this you can't. So this is always slow. This can be fine.
Yeah, but
curious.
remember what was the Kamigawa card? Season's Renewal. I know different because of the 2 spells, but how busted that card was.
Yeah, true. It was good. Maybe there's something. Yeah, for sure.
It was slow.
Okay. It was slow.
It was slow. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I don't think Benji costs a lot of renewals that format.
Yeah, there was a time and a place, but
I'm
not
pretty
as a lot of people probably.
I'm also pretty sure that he lost to a bunch of season renewals.
Yes.
No,
I'm not sure.
They would kill me before they started looping if I didn't win. I would just lose to like the first Behold.
Yes, Behold was Behold was rough.
they didn't need to loop them against the decks I was playing. One's enough.
Okay, let's move on. We got a blue-green deck here on our hands
with a splash.
Ooh, yeah.
No lands. A nice little red splash for this little dragon spirit here.
Yeah, I built this one and I think it's super interesting. I think that blue-green is not going to be, a good deck, but I bet it's pretty easy to get into. And I think that if there's a base for like the 5-color multicolor deck, this is likely where you're going to end up, like maybe green-red because you have treasures, or green-black because you have treasures and stuff like that. But
in red, you also have the dragons.
Yes, you also have the dragons for treasures. It all started when I noticed.
No. I there was an honest comment.
Okay. I think everyone's giving me crap now. Yeah.
You have the 3-color synergies in Timur with dragons, and every single uncommon in Timur is dragon based. So I think that unlocking all 3 colors is going to be happening sometimes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And
also you get the young red dragons.
Yeah. The treasure is important, but I think that blue-green is going to be like likely super creature heavy, play to the board, create these giant board stalls, and then just win with like your giant dragons is likely how it's going to play out. I think that you're going to like need to prioritize some interaction because like there's no like sudden spoils or whatnot. So like you've got the 3-mana card that 2 different creatures do a punch. I think this is a spot where like Spikefield Pit Trap or Charmed Sleep might be cards that you'll end up playing. And I think that this is like, it looks like a really fun deck to play and something I'm excited to play, but I do wonder how good it will be in the overall format since it looks like aggro is going to be pretty prominent. That's one thing I do like about the 1/4 uncommon. It like, synergizes with dragons for late game, but really I just like the fact that it's a 2-mana 1/4 blocker. I think that's something that a deck like this really needs.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's like, remember in AFR there was the blue-green signpost was an 0/4, and it was just so bad that it was an 0/4.
Gretchen Titchwillow, if it was a 1/4, or like it could even be a 1/3. Like, yeah.
This is going to stop white decks in its track, basically. A card like this.
I can probably draw your card over the game.
And I wasn't going to include it like in my original like skeleton. Like I looked at it, I'm like, okay, signpost uncommon kind of looks medium, like probably not dragon synergies. Then I start building the whole deck and I'm like looking for some cards to fill in. I'm like, oh, I just want a 2-mana 1/4 with upside. Like this is perfect actually.
I would put 2 nurturers in this skeleton. I feel I'm higher on that card than you are.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
if this dragon thing gets together, then I'm liking this card. I get that 0/2 is bad. I got all your arguments. I'm just
I could see it though, because the blue-green like kicker decks in Zendikar Rising, like they would really benefit from like Kazandu Nectar Pot, and that's a card that I thought was completely unplayable. But like it's like you just need the incidental life gain to get to the late game, and if you do have enough to gain 6 life or something, you have enough haymakers in a deck like this that you can easily afford to like have one card be like a 0/2.
Yeah,
I hope so. Also, the Zendikar Rising green-blue decks really needed to have field research.
Oh yeah, very true.
Yes,
and there is an uncommon field research in this format that costs 4 mana when you have a dragon.
Oh, okay. I must have missed it. I was so focused on the young blue dragons just being their own kind of field research with a draw 1, scry 1, and a 3/3.
Which one is it? Is it this one?
It's in blue.
Yeah, it's a 6-mana blue card technically, but I think it has a reduced cost.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
Yeah, that's it.
So it says spell costs 2 less to cost if you control dragon, draw 3 cards. Okay, that's neat. I think that deserves an include here. Yeah.
Like the longer I look at this card and then the density of the dragons, I think that it will be playable in some decks. It looks pretty bad because for 6 mana I don't want to play that kind of.
Is it a sorcery?
Effect.
It's an instant.
Okay, that's super relevant because a card that super caught my eye just in general, off topic. Ambition's cost, if this ends up being a slow grindy set at uncommon, is just 4 mana, draw 3 cards, and that could be super relevant or super unplayable depending on how the format plays out. I think.
Where is it?
Ambition's cost is the black one, yeah?
Yeah, it's the black card. I think it was originally from like Portal, and then it was reprinted a bunch of times. But like, it's like a classic commandery kind of card. But it's very much in the same vein as the format or the 6 mana instant, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You're paying a bit of life there, but you're not required to have the dragon. Yeah.
But you have vampire spawns to cushion that.
Yes, you do. Yeah, looks good.
So yeah, that's my tangent there.
It's a bit top heavy. But
yes. Absolutely.
It is. And I also feel that if you're going for this kind of thing, I would be hesitant to put like Aircult Elementals and Hurge Gorgers at my top end. I'm not sure. I'm more of a completely build around this thing.
Oh, and I'm just like, if I get
guy.
that thing, it's just like a 6 mana 6/6 and like flying, and like if I get like 4th pick in pack 3, I'm happy to like play a mountain with my Pilgrim's Eye. That's like kind of how I look at it.
And I like how you apply already the realistics of draft to building your skeletons. It's like, well, this one I'm going to get past in pack 3 if it's open. It's just going to happen. But it's true. It's true. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. No, for sure. Boom, red white. It's
has land.
Completely different.
This one looks a lot better than my version. I'm happy we're looking at this one.
Okay, bring it on.
I put all the double team cards.
Yes. Rouser, watch, I like it. Giant Beetle, don't like it.
I think it's still valid if you put so much stuff on board. This beetle might eventually become a threat. Also, you keep in mind that I'm curving those beetle from the thing that gives me a +1/+0 boon.
Right, so you're putting counters on it, right?
I'm putting a 3/2 Menacer that will bring me another 3/2 Menacer because it brings a copy of it. So it was booned permanently. So, don't disrespect the Beatles.
If you perpetually buff a double team card before you get the copy, does the copy get the buff too?
I assume so because it's on the card now. It's imprinted on the card.
I think so too. Which is,
but of course,
again,
we might be wrong,
strong.
And there's weird things. But yeah, there's like plenty of ways of getting those beetles to become a big menacing threat. And I think that, especially, I would like to stress the 2 mana 3/1 that gives you the boon next time you play a creature that gets permanently +1/+0 is, I think, really strong when you have the double team cards. If it works as you think it does, which it might not.
This and then the Valiant Farewell, right, which is doing similar stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's bonkers. Yeah.
So yeah,
if this works as you think it does, that's so strong.
I mean, I put the Devoted Paladin as a top end, but I'm not really stoked about it. But I think that because you play so many double team, you might get to the positions when you get like 5 creatures on the board.
Whiteboard.
On the other hand, it might be also the situations when they're dead, whatever happens. So the Devoted Paladin is absolutely secondary to that.
Is there any other like buff your board stuff that catch your eye?
I don't remember one. I just thought that Devoted Paladin actually might be good target for the blue blink thing.
Yeah, I get the buff. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
I don't remember any. I mean, there's some on rare.
Yeah, there's this artifact, right? That benefits this horn. Crypt creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control, which is not. That's more go big than go wide, right? Yeah,
there's a couple of the effects that deal with having multiple copies of the same creature.
Yes, that exists.
Yeah, so that there's always that. Yeah, I know. I filled it in with some removal and interaction.
Yeah. You heard someone on watch. is a good one, I think.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, creatures you control +1/+1 at the end of turn. Yeah,
Maybe better then because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
instead
it's
of the
cheaper.
paladin,
Plus, it
but,
has an alternative mode. I like this one. Yeah,
yeah.
good include.
But I mean, you can see there's not much thinking in that deck. There's probably going to be a lot of thinking while playing it because you need to craft your 20 damage quite neatly. But I think it's going to be a really strong archetype. And
I hope
some
so.
of those cards, like I said, I wouldn't play the Beatles if I wouldn't have things that boon the attack.
No, correct.
For example,
this
so
if this
they
comes
can be
down as a
replaced with
2/2,
some
you're
hard- yeah,
set.
yeah.
I
But if
agree.
it comes up as a 4/2, you're very, very happy. And if it brings back another 4/2, you're ecstatic.
Yeah, no, correct.
Because you would spend 6 mana for 2 4/2s with menace.
Oh yes, yes, for sure.
Wait,
No,
I
if
would
this
spend
if this
6 mana for a 2/4 menace.
6 mana for 2 4/2s with menace.
Oh, 2 4/2s. Okay, that's totally different than a 2/4. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
I'm
we
with
are,
you.
we are assuming that if this perpetual buff is also applied to the copy, then you're doing it. If that is how it works. And yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but again, they didn't clarify those things, so probably they still don't know it themselves.
Yeah.
And I think
Let's see
that even though there's a bunch of enchantment hosing, I think that the 4 mana enchantment that seeks for a creature card is still really good.
Enchant creature or planeswalker you don't control. When it enters the battlefield, conjure a card named blah blah blah. So you get a Soldier of the Watch and then a
exactly.
permanent
Like
can't
free,
attack or block.
It's like sleep with the fishes, but instead of one fish, you get
a 2/1
soldiers.
that can become another 2/1. Yeah.
Yeah, this card seems insane.
That's neat. Yeah, and it totally fits the team, right? Because it adds a creature on the board while taking away a blocker. So it makes you go even wider and makes them go smaller, which is super valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
So not much thinking there from my side. I think that this archetype builds itself, and I think it's going to be damn powerful if you get your hands on those double team creatures.
Yeah.
And if you
for sure,
if you get, or I guess it's what the uncommon signpost is, legendary or whatnot, I believe. But if you get, a couple of those and you're constantly getting that card on like turn 2, turn 3, like it seems like a deck that could really take over games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the uncommon is really good. I think that also the rare that I put the Boros rare is also really on theme.
Let's say it says when it enters the battlefield, another target non-token creature you control gains double team. Whenever it attacks, conjure a duplicate of another target non-token. Oh, okay. So it gives one double team, and then it allows you to conjure a copy of any target non-token attacking. Ooh, so it basically generates 2 copies then. Sweet. Yeah, that's like infinite creatures. That's a 3 mana 3/3.
Now we just need the saga of Kiki and we're good.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. I'm here for that.
That's
wait, you're a constructed player now, Benji. Of course you're interested in those kind of things.
Oh, yes.
That is sick. That was it. We covered all 10.
Yes.
Woo!
Well done.
Big success. But actually, it didn't take that long. Most of it was fluff and us not knowing how the rules work. And
it
then
was either we don't know how the new cards work, or we already know AFR. So like not a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah. Sorry for that, folks. I mean, it would have been nice if we could have told you like the entire story of the set, but we don't know. I mean, Wizards didn't tell us. It's pretty strange, but here we are.
Touche, Simon.
Could you? Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, thanks so much, Benji. Pawel, maybe one last time. Where can people find you? Twitch and Twitter links already up on the screen, but maybe other stuff you would like to point towards.
Oh yeah. So that's pretty much the spots to find me. The links up on the screen. Also check out like the Draft Lab Discord. I'm always like posting decks and like checking that stuff out. It's a lot of fun just talking Magic. We recently got a Boomer chat where we talk about like Invasion Draft and stuff like that with Pawel. But yeah, definitely Twitter and Twitch for me. And thank you so much for having me. This is always so much fun, and I feel like I learn, as much during this talk as I do trying to prepare for it. So always a pleasure chatting, y'all.
Yeah, and in case you're lost in the Draft Lab channel, Benji's posting his decks in the channel called Trophies.
Good one.
Find your adult young dragons or whatnot there. Young red dragons there.
Adult gold dragon looks for him, and a young red dragon. That's the I think personal ad.
Yeah.
I also have a YouTube where I put my seminars in a video form, and it's Siekovitz, so that's the same as everything else. That's where you can find me. I'm also in the Draft Lab Discord on occasions, but not as a part of the team, just as someone that annoys them regularly.
But you do have that cool podcast, Magic Numbers.
Magic Numbers, yeah, but that's just like the audio of my YouTubes.
Okay. Oh,
but
you learn something new every day. Look at that.
You do put it on your podcast app, because I think that the Magic Numbers is a good thing.
It's great.
Like, you can't have an amazing episode every time, but I think I have content that no one else can give you.
For sure. Yeah.
Whatever that means.
I listen to it regularly.
Even this thing will be on my podcast probably if you send me the audio, Sander, which I assume you will.
So
there you go.
So.
That kind of content. That's my bonus episode. I'm going to charge that for Patreon when I make one.
There you go. You got to monetize.
Yeah.
Monetization is the future.
Yes.
The numbers. Yeah.
The numbers.
Wrapping it up, G. John in chat says the Archetype Skeletons made me a small amount sad for the format. Sorry to do that to you. Well, still, it'll be refreshing, y'all. I mean, we're coming out of S&C, so...
I'm reading the chat, and the only thing in my head is, what are you doing, Step Dragon?
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. It was a lot of fun having you all here.